there's that. See if this works. Na. Is this working? Hold on. Trying to trying to set this up so it can go live in multiple places. So bear with me for a second. Hold on. Is the stream... it says I'm live. Hold on. Something's happening on Twitch. Oh. Okay. Alright, so YouTube's working. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Live in Brazil. Well, I'm not live in Brazil. I'm live in the United States. I believe... but we should have somewhat similar time zones, right? Like, Pennsylvania is kind of above Brazil, so it's not. I mean, Brazil's huge, so probably has multiple time zones. So I don't know, but we might be in the same time zone. Looks like it went out. Is that? It doesn't look like it went out to me. You're New Jersey. You're a New Jersey guy. I mean, look. I'm a Pennsylvania. I'm a Pennsylvania purist through and through. But sorry, I'm like trying to. It says that I'm live on Twitch, but I can't see myself. I'm a Pennsylvania guy through and through. That being said, I probably share more in common with most, or I would say I probably share more in common with New Jerseyites than I do with most Pennsylvanians, because I live like on the border of New Jersey. I live like 10 minutes away from New Jersey, you know, and I spend a decent amount of time in New Jersey. So, I probably have more in common with New Jersey than Pennsylvania, but of course, I have to be loyal to Pennsylvania. I if you can hear me if you can see and hear me on Twitch right now, let me know, because it says I'm live, but also the stream says that I'm offline. So let me try refresh that page. Oh yeah, okay, I am live. Okay, we can hear and see you. Good. Good, good, good. Now I just gotta see if I'm live on Instagram, because I think that one might have pooped. Hold on. Revisiting my old rankings. Public. Okay, now I just gotta do the URL and shit. Output settings. That's the same. That gets changed. There we go. Save output and OK. Press that button. And now maybe we should possibly be live on Instagram. Maybe. Oh, wait, I'm seeing something. Okay, this. Okay, the Instagram layout does not look good. I apologize. I apologize to anybody who's watching on Instagram right now. The layout looks pretty dog shit. It's not my fault. I mean, it is my fault. I haven't even bothered trying to change it. But so basically, all right, I'll start fresh here. So while I was driving earlier today, it says my stream bitrate is lower than the recommended bit rate. I don't know if that'll affect anything. But while I was driving today, for some reason, and I still listen to the radio occasionally. Okay, don't dog me for that. If I don't feel like plugging my phone in, because my car doesn't have like all the apps and shit built in, so I can't just like directly access Spotify from my car. I have to use my phone still. But so I was on the listening to the rock radio, the nothing but rock radio, and they were for some reason having a Bon Jovi marathon, and I look different than you than I sorry I it's hard for me to speak and read chat at the same time, but I look different than you thought I would look. How's that possible? Like, this is the first time you're seeing me. You've never seen any of my videos with my face in it. Anyway, and then it was just playing a bunch of Bon Jovi songs, and it reminded me of that. I know you're not insulting me. I'm just surprised. Um, but and I was just like thinking of the time that I did the rock band tier list of just like a bunch of rock bands, and I mistook one of the images. It was a cropped logo of Elton John, and it was a classic rock tier list. It was Elton John, and for some reason my brain registered that as like a B and a J. I don't know why. So I assumed it was Bon Jovi. And when I watched the video again, I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Why did I think it was Bon Jovi? Um, but um, but yeah, so that just made me think of an old ranking, and then it made me think of other old rankings, and how I've changed my opinions on them quite a bit. I mean, I still get comments sometimes on those old rankings, and then I feel like, oh my god, dude, like sometimes it's like they'll say something like, "Oh, this was really stupid of you to say," or whatever, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I know, I get it. All right, I made this a while ago. I was kind of just talking out of my ass for a lot of it." Um, so yeah, we're gonna cringe through some old rankings, and we're gonna talk about them um, as I watch them. How do I unzoom the stream after you open? Yeah, you can't. So the Instagram stream is actually just fucked up. You can't unzoom it. That's just how it is, unfortunately. I don't know how to fix that as of yet. Oh, wait, okay. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to deal with looking at half of my face for the time being, unless I can somehow change the. Hold on. Output settings, no. Advanced settings, no, 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 no. Okay, sorry. That did not fix anything. Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to do the Instagram thing normally. I'm sorry, anybody who's watching on Instagram. I look like you're like I'm covering half of my face. I'm sorry, but anyways, I'm also on YouTube and Twitch. So if you wanna see the whole thing, you can also go there. Um, Uncut, uncensored, unfiltered. Okay, let's start with. We're gonna start with. We're gonna start with the Green Day one because that was my very first one, and I know that I've changed my opinion on it quite a bit. I just realized I should probably be wearing headphones just because I don't want there to be some audio leakage or whatever. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put on some headphones. Actually, hold on. You know what? I don't need big ass headphones. I'm gonna find some earbuds real quick. I know where I can find some. Don't go anywhere. I'll be 3 seconds. Count to three, and if I'm not back by then it'll be count to another three. Okay, I'm back. Okay. All right. Now we plug these good old fashioned plug-in earbuds. Oh boy. Here we go. I just want to make sure everything's still good. Can't believe bro's ignoring us. Dude, I'm doing so much right now. I'm sorry. I am trying to stream in multiple concurrent places. I am trying to navigate YouTube. I'm trying to get earbuds. Yeah. I'm going to try to read a couple of these while I can. I was planning on, if I ever do hit 300K, it's a slow race, but we're slowly approaching it. If I hit 300K on YouTube, I plan on doing a video answering my most asked questions, because I get asked these questions a lot. Yeah, I know you're just kidding. I know it's all love. All right. Let's get to it. Let's stop stalling. All right, let's start with the Green Day one. Is this picking? Yeah. Let me know if the video is too loud over my actual voice, because it looks like it's pretty loud.
And now for something completely different.
I'm gonna turn that down. Yeah, that's probably good.
Yes, you read that right.
Oh, I forgot the audio is really shitty on this one.
Different.
How old am I in this? 7 years ago.
I am going to be reviewing or ranking Green Day's
June 13th, 2018. So I was.
Disagree with my ranking?
19. I was 19 in this video.
If you agree with it, great. Also, let me know. I love discussion. You may be surprised at some of my opinions.
You know, it's amazing.
Oh my god, the edits are so much.
Nothing you've said has been right.
This is something completely
Hold
new
on, let me make it full screen.
If you like it, then great, let me know. Because then I can
about
continue. And if you want me to rank the albums of some of your favorite bands, then let me know. Anyways, let's get into it and see how it goes.
What if I told you this dish
What is it?
actually
Is this an
healthy?
ad?
Let's be real. Factor's menu is
Oh
way
shit, I'm
healthier
getting an
than
ad.
the competition. Their chefs.
For the two of you who don't know who Green
Wow,
Day is,
what a
Green
cool
Day is a pop-punk
transition.
band formed in
I literally have
1986
not
in
watched
Berkeley,
this since I
California,
released
by
it.
lead vocalist and guitarist Billy Joe
I'm
Armstrong,
scared to watch
bassist Mike
this.
Dirnt, and drummer Trey Cool. The band gained wild popularity with the release of their 1994 instant cult classic Dookie, and have been a major influence to the pop-punk genre ever since.
Why does it keep going white? Does that happen every time I open something else?
Just a disclaimer, here are some honorable mentions that don't make the list because they're not technically Green Day albums, but they are performed by Green Day. The Network's Money Money 2020 does not count because it is technically
Dude, you're
not
peeking
a Green Day
so
album.
much. How did
Also,
you
the
not listen to
Foxborough
this?
Hot Tubs Stop, Drop, and Roll will not make it on this list because it is technically not a Green Day album. And finally, I'm not going to
I'll use
include
my phone.
Shenanigans because
Sorry,
it
I'm
is
using
a
my
B-side
laptop right
album,
now, so
and it does not technically count as a studio album.
I can't see the channel
Alright,
like a
let's get into the list.
second
Number
monitor or
12.
anything. I'm not a streamer, unfortunately. Okay, I immediately disagree with this. I like literally I only put this here because I barely listened to it.
Yes. Adolescent Green Day. I put 39 Smooth at the bottom of this list
Because you didn't listen to it.
They're still finding their sound. The production isn't the best. A lot of the songwriting isn't the best. The guitar work is
It's
pretty damn
fine.
good. As far as the lyrics go, it's mediocre.
Mediocre?
I don't really have too much to say about this album as, of course, it's my least favorite.
No, you don't have much to say about it because you barely listened to it.
Did anyone obviously not see this one coming? Trey is confusing. It's the third album of an already prolonged trilogy that just went on for too damn long. A lot of the songs
I sound
on here are
younger
super
than in the
mediocre, and
video?
If you listen to the first two albums that come before it, Uno and Dos, right before listening to this one,
I don't know
this
about
one's gonna
that. I feel like I
a
sound the
buzzkill. A lot of
same.
the songs in the trilogy follow the same formula, and once you get
Actually,
to the
I don't
third
know.
one, it's just tiresome.
I think
There
my
are
voice
some
has gotten
pretty good
better since
tracks
then,
in
that's for
here,
sure.
Like Dirty Rotten Bastards and my favorite Ex-Kid. But then there's just songs like A Little Boy Named Train. Also, The Forgotten is a nice little piano ballad, but it just doesn't fit the aesthetic of the rest of the album.
Oh man, if only you heard what was to come. Like, this video is so funny to me. Just like just like having everything that
Number
we've
10, we have
had
Uno,
since
the
this
first of
video.
the trilogy. Now, I feel like this one sounds the most true to the Green Day sound.
Why
of the
did he look
trilogy.
younger
There's a lot of
7 years
pop-punk
ago?
hits on it, like Nuclear Family, Let Yourself Go, Kill the DJ. But of course, like all the records in the trilogy, it has its
It's funny
downsides
how
as well.
similar
When
the
I heard
room
Oh Love
looks
when it
because
first came out,
it's a different
I
room.
was just confused.
Like I'm looking at the
It's
two
slow,
right now,
Billy
back
doesn't
like
sound
in
like his
their
normal angsty self,
they're different
and it just
rooms,
doesn't
but they're
fit the
similar
Green Day
layouts. I
aesthetic.
did that on
It's not very
purpose.
good. If I had to say what my favorite track on this one is, it's probably Let Yourself Go.
Where
I
would
like the
Saviors
anger in
land
it.
here?
It has a very unique sound.
I
and that's all have
liked
to
some
say
of
about
Saviors.
that.
I liked
Gives you the power
I
of
liked
AI to build
the song,
website
the
you
one
need.
single. I was sober, now I'm drunk again. I like that one. There was some songs that I thought were okay on it, but I wasn't too crazy about it.
At number 9, we have Dose, my favorite of the trilogy. Some people go to say that this one is actually the worst of the trilogy, and I can kind of see why they'd say that. I think they say that because it sounds different. I believe Green Day said somewhere that it was a Foxborough Hot Tubs album that was disguised as a Green Day album, and honestly, I can see that. It's very crazy, it's very wild.
I used to
And
like this
honestly,
album
I
a
like
lot
that
more than I
about it.
do
That's
now, I
why
would
it's my favorite
probably
of the
say.
trilogy. It's different, it's experimental, but it's the good kind of experimental.
Is it
Some
is it
great
though?
songs on
Is it
here are
really
Fuck
the good
Time,
kind
it's
of
got a
experimental?
Great guitar solo. Lazy Bones is a pretty good one. I like the drums. Make Out Party is another wild one where you get to hear Billy screaming.
I actually
It's
haven't listened to
pretty
this album
nice.
in quite a
And
while,
my favorite
so
song on here is
I'd have to
Stray Heart,
revisit
and
it.
I'm sure a lot of people agree with that, as it's just a catchy tune. But let's not mention Nightlife.
Yeah, Nightlife is rough. I'm surprised I got that. I think
At number 8, we have their latest album.
I think Revolution Radio is
Now,
kind of,
when this thing
I
was
don't know.
coming out, I didn't really have too high of expectations. The last 4 albums they released before it, I technically count them as 2. They were just, they seem to be following the same rock and roll formula that they're trying
I
to
feel-
adapt
I
from
feel like
American Idiot or the
when I
American
listen
Idiot
to
sound, but it
Revolution
just
Radio now, like
doesn't work as well. I feel like
I
this
remember it being
Revolution
better
Radio
than it
album
is, but at the same time I'm
is
like,
the
you know
epitome
what?
of
Like this
that.
wasn't
I do like
actually.
some of the
It's like
experimentation
weird
on
because
it.
it got
They're
like
trying to
kind of
sound a little
negative
bit like The
reception.
Who in some parts.
But when I go
My
back and
favorite
listen
track
to
on
it,
here is
especially compared to
Forever
like some of
Now.
their
I think
newer stuff,
that
I'm like,
has
you know, this
the most
actually wasn't
classic
that bad.
aesthetic as far as a Green Day song goes. I like the way the album
But at the same
opens.
time,
I
like I
Somewhere
probably
Now.
like
I
it
think
less
Bang
now
Bang's
than I
also
did
a pretty
at
good
that
single,
time.
as
So it's
well
just
as
a weird
Revolution Radio.
mixture of
Revolution
feelings, if that
Radio,
makes
the
any
song
sense.
sounds like it came directly from American Idiot, which I love. But there's also just a lot of songs in here that just didn't stick out.
I
at
was
all
also
to me.
in high school
Say
when it came
Goodbye
out.
is one of those songs. Outlaws is one of my favorites on the record, but the lyrics are just. Still Breathing doesn't even sound like a Green Day song. It sounds like something Daughtry would make in like 2006, but just more upbeat.
I can attest to
Don't like the
that.
song Youngblood.
Breathing
Too Dumb
was
to
not a
Die
good
is-
song.
Finishing song Ordinary World. I think it's a nice tune, but I feel like they were trying to pull Good Riddance, and in that case, it just didn't work.
I remember being very more forgiving of this album than I think I would be now. Like I remember saying that 21 Guns is like my ideal Green Day song. That's no
Number
longer the
7,
case
we have
whatsoever.
21st Century Breakdown. Now, this album.
Do I
it's a
still
tough
have
one
this
for
shirt?
me.
Yes, I do.
I really like some of the songs on here. I think it opens really well with Song of the Century. I like the song 21st Century Breakdown. Know Your Enemy is pretty good, although a little repetitive.
Yeah, I
Viva
liked
La
this.
Gloria, Before the
I liked this
Lobotomy.
album a
This
lot
album
more
really
back
does
then
have
when
a
I was
great
like super
streak of
into the
songs
band
on
than
it.
I do
Last of
now.
the
Like
American
I
Girls
just
is
have
catchy
no
as hell.
desire
Viva
to
La
listen to this
Gloria?
album these
Question mark?
days.
Is fantastic. Restless Heart Syndrome had a lot of potential, but I feel like the songwriting as far as lyrics goes it's not very good. I love Peacemaker. 21 Guns is exactly
Peacemaker is
what I
pretty
want to
good.
hear from Green Day. It's fantastic. It's such an anthem. It was such a popular song. And
The
for
21
good
Guns
reason. And I
finishing
just can't
for
get enough of
vocal
that song.
version.
This
Yeah, that
album
one's good.
does have a lot of tracks that just kind of blend in and don't really stand out. Like Murder City, East Jesus Nowhere. You know what? Actually, there aren't a lot of bad songs on this album. Now that I'm reviewing this, I think
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I don't think I had a
it's better than I
script.
thought. However,
for
it still
this.
stands
I
the
think I
same
just
place on
winged
my
it.
list. I think the biggest problem I have with 21st Century Breakdown is that it tries too hard to be American Idiot. Like I said with Revolution
I can
Radio,
agree with that.
They just kind of follow the
Okay.
same formula, and it just kind of gets old. 21st
I mean, it's
Century
not that it gets
Breakdown
old, it just doesn't
is
do it
just
as
a
well.
lesser American Idiot.
I mean, it does
It's
get
still
old,
great.
but it just isn't as effective.
Still great.
It's not great. It's not great. Kerplunk would be higher nowadays. Kerplunk is like way up there for me now.
At number 6, we have Kerplunk. I actually don't have too much to say about this album. This was when Green Day really found their sound.
Like at this point, I
Borrowing a little
liked
bit from the
Kerplunk, but
sound
I
of
wasn't
39
like
Smooth,
listening to it
they
like
really found the
regularly.
formula that
You know, it
made
was kind of
Green
like
Day
I
Green
listened
Day.
to it
This
for
was
this
also the
review.
album where
And I was
Welcome
like,
to
oh, that's pretty
Paradise was
good.
first introduced.
But like,
The production is very raw.
I wasn't
sounding.
like
It's
super
definitely
into
not
it.
as heavily produced as their
But now
following
I
albums.
like if I'm listening to
Just some
Green
great
Day,
songs
I'm
on the
listening
same, like
to
Christie Road,
most of
Holding
the
Caulfield,
time I'm listening to
obviously
like
Welcome
either
to Paradise.
Kerplunk or Insomniac, and then maybe sometimes I'll be listening to
There's a Harbor Freight
maybe
store in your
sometimes I'll be
neighborhood.
listening to
They
Nimrod as
resell
well.
hard
I think
working
Nimrod
tools that always work.
Number 5,
Nimrod's
we
still
have
very good.
Insomniac. Now, I love Insomniac, and here's why. I don't remember the full story, but I believe Green Day was pissed off. Like, very pissed off.
Insomniac is weird
And
for
they
me because
show
like
up
I
with this
remember
record.
like
Now, following their
I
1994
remember loving
hit
this
Dookie
record
was a challenge,
and
but I
like
believe
thinking
they
like this
pulled
is
it
one of the
off.
better
I
Green
don't
Day
really think
records,
there's a
and then
bad
like
song
I
on
don't
this
know, like
record.
some point
Some of the
recently I
songs
went
just
back and
kinda
listened
sound
to it and I was
scraps
like
from
it didn't
Dookie,
have
like
as
song
many
86.
songs that
But
hit
is
as
that
I
really a bad
remembered it
thing?
having.
I love the way the album opens with Armitage Shanks. I love Brat. Who doesn't love Geek Stink Breath? Brain Stew is also one
It
that
does
I've
have a
loved for
handful of good
long
songs, that's
time.
true.
The Walking Contradiction video is hilarious and one of my favorite music videos of all time. And Panic Song is just crazy. I don't understand
Oh my
how
God,
anybody
the
can play
edits.
bass that fast. I don't
yeah, but
understand how
Panic
anybody
Song
can play
Panic
anything
Song
that
is
fast.
good.
Anyways, this deserves the number 5 spot on my list.
That's still one of my favorite songs by them. I love that song.
Now this one's a shocker. Now some of you may be wondering how the hell he can place Warning above Insomniac. I'll let you know. Now a lot
Happy
of people
New
don't
Year's
like
to-
Warning because
to
it really
Texas Big
symbolizes
Iron
a departure from the
1998.
original Green Day sound.
I was
But I
also
don't think
born in
that's necessarily a
1998, if
bad
that's what
thing.
you're
If you
referring
do
to,
the
unless you're
same thing
talking
for too
about
long, it
Fallout
starts to
2,
get
because it looks
stale.
like
And I believe because they
you
changed
might
their
have a
sound
Fallout
is
profile
why they're
picture.
still
I
so
can't really
damn
tell.
popular today. And I understand that sometimes changing sound can be really bad. But I think this
Slightly
time
poor
it just
taste.
works. I like that they were experimenting with folk instrumentation. And I also think that this is the best produced Green Day album. Very clean sounding. Anyway, some awesome tracks on here. The opening track, Warning, is great, even though some
Warning-
people would consider
Warning
it a
is-
ripoff.
should not
The
be this
following
high.
track, Blood, Sex, and
It
Booze,
should not be
also a
this high.
fantastic song.
It does have
Deadbeat
some good
Holiday is
some
really
great
nice.
songs on it,
Waiting
but
was
it
also
should
one of
not
my
be at number
favorites growing
4.
up. Minority is a punk anthem that sticks a finger up the ass of the patriarchy. And Macy's
the
Day Parade is a
patriarchy.
great finisher. But I think the highlight of this album, the one song that I feel like is the most underrated Green Day song of all time, is Misery. Misery is definitely one of my favorite songs by them, and I'll tell you why. It's completely different than any other Green Day
Yeah,
song
I
I've
do
heard.
like Misery.
Take the
I'll
guitars,
give you
throw them out the door. You like violins? You like big bass drums and
All right, dude. It's not
theatrical
that
sounds?
crazy. Like it's cool, but it's
Well,
not like
We got them.
this
You like
this
dark
this
themes?
Billy is like this Billy
got
that
them.
we're
You
watching
like
right now has never
mandolins?
listened to Tom Waits in
This
his
song is
life.
just so strange and dark and different. It's just fantastic. If you haven't listened to the song Misery, go check it out. It's awesome.
Was Linkin Park's last album before Chester's death really that bad? I thought it was bad, and it got really poor reception. It kind of takes on a new light after what happened, but still, the music was not good.
Calm down. Calm down. I can explain.
I love
now,
that sound.
I think the majority of
Boo,
people
you
agree
stink! I
that
love that.
Dookie is Green Day's best album. It's arguably their most influential, it's definitely one of their most popular, and it definitely has a lot of classics on it. You already know how great it is,
You're
so I'm
almost
just gonna tell you what I
17.
don't like about it. Now the thing is, all the
Well,
songs
I
on
miss
Dookie,
being
they
17,
just
so
kinda
enjoy
blend
it while
together,
you can.
but not in a good way. A lot of times when you mention Green Day, somebody in the room is going to say, all their songs sound the same, and I believe this album is the epitome of that. It's a good sound, don't get me wrong, but it's just an album that you just can't listen all the way through. The songs just get too repetitive. with maybe the exception of
I
Long
disagree with
which
that
is
now.
my favorite song on the record.
I disagree with that now. It could definitely be listened to. I would argue that's a strength. I would argue that's a
Now, I
strength
understand
that
this was a
it
completely new
has like a
sound that no one's really
consistency
heard
to it.
before, and that I give it props for. Maybe I just don't understand it because I didn't experience it as it was happening. Anyways, I'm not going to completely hate on Dookie. I love the album. It's of course at my number 3 spot. I just wanted to say what I think is wrong with it because everybody loves it, including me, but I feel like everybody's heard enough praise about the album, so I just wanted to criticize it a little bit. Not even number 2?
Yeah. It's not even that crazy. I mean, it's like, yeah. I do love Nimrod. This is probably still my top 3. It's funny. I'll talk about American Idiot when we get to it,
The
but
last Green Day album where you can barely understand what Billy's saying. Now Nimrod,
I love how
it's
like I'm wearing
definitely one of my
an American
favorites. In
Idiot
fact,
shirt
my
and like I
second
have the
favorite.
American Idiot
Nimrod
vinyl and
was
it's like,
really
oh
the
gee, I wonder
beginning
what's
of
gonna be
Green
number
Day's
1.
experimentation
I think
into
I make
new
a joke like
sounds.
that in this
In
video
some ways,
actually.
it even sounds confused with its own identity. Some songs sound just like classic Green Day, like Dookie, Insomniac era Green Day. But
Do
also
I like
some songs sound more
Mudkips?
like modern Green Day.
Mudkip was
They
my
were
favorite
really
starter, so
transitioning from
yeah,
punk
I would say
into
so.
alternative. The beginning track, Nice Guys Finish Last, a great Green Day tune, just classic Green Day sound throughout, very catchy. The Grouch is another great song, Redundant, Scattered, Worry Rock, Platypus, and I just love the experimentation of certain songs like Last Ride In, Walking Alone. Fun fact, Billy learned the harmonica just for that song. And of course, King
Learn
for
the
a Day,
harmonica.
which is
It's not that hard to
their
learn the
most
harmonica.
fun song live.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is a nice.
With
That was a very
Hotels.com has something for
very nice live performance.
Believe me,
I
I've
love that
seen it. Now, of
performance.
course, I'm not gonna forget Good Riddance or Time of Your Life. It's overplayed like hell. It's played at like every graduation.
Do I mention the
every
demo?
wedding. You've heard it before. If you tell
'Cause I
somebody
like-
you like Green Day and they say they don't know who it is,
I like
you
the
can sing
demo
that song
for
and
that
they'll
song
be like,
a lot.
Oh, I know
Or like
that
the
song,
I don't even
and
know if it's a demo or just like
it's not
it's just an
supposed to be
alternative
a
take.
happy song. It's supposed to be a fuck you song. It's literally called Good Riddance. If you listen to the original B-side version,
Yeah, there it
in
is.
my opinion, it's a lot better because it's angrier. I like to call the Nimrod version Time of Your Life, just because it's very lighthearted. It's just strange that the song is just used so much, but it's just so misinterpreted. And of course, I'm not gonna forget my favorite Green Day song ever, Hitchin' a Ride. Hitchin' a Ride. I love the violin. I love
I don't
the
know.
verses,
I don't
love
know
the
if I'd still
chorus, it's
consider that my
sludgy,
favorite
it's
Green Day song, but it's
angsty,
definitely
it's
up
a
there.
little bit theatrical, and oh my god, when it drops, it freaking drops. Right now, actually no, right now, finish the video first.
I think King
Then,
for a
go
Day
look
might
up
be
the
my
Bullet in a
favorite, but I
Bible
don't know.
performance of Hitchin' a Ride. When Billy screams, the hairs on your neck will stand. All right, let's
Finish him.
It's funny because there was a point. I think I circled back. I circled back to this album and like changed. Like, obviously at this point I thought it was their best album, and then yeah, there it is. Yep, there it is. Yep.
Did I even have to say it? This was the era when they looked
There was a
their
point
best,
where,
they sounded their best, and they were their most popular.
where
Seriously,
I didn't
remember
like
that you
American
could not go
Idiot
anywhere without
the
hearing
the
Boulevard of
best
Broken
anymore because I
Dreams
thought it
or
was
Wake
like,
Me Up
oh,
at
you know
September
what?
End,
This was
and
the
you would see
time when
hard
they
hand
turned too
grenades literally
commercial.
everywhere.
This is
I
when
seriously
they
think this is
sold
one of the
out.
most influential
Like,
and one
I
of
don't
the
know.
best
Like I
rock
was being
albums
like
of the
very
90s,
like
if not of all
contrarian,
time. This was the
a
album
purist,
that got me into Green Day
and
way back
I
in
was like
2004
American
when
Idiot.
I was just
It's
in
actually
first
not that
grade.
good.
American Idiot was
And then
the
I
first
kind of
song I
like
heard by them,
revisited
and I
it years
instantly
later, and I
became
was like,
obsessed. When I got my
yeah,
first flip
it
phone
is
in
that good. I think I
2006,
like
remember
I understand it
recording the
more
song
now than I
American
did
Idiot
at the
on the
time of
little
this video.
phone
Like,
microphone
I think the lyrics
and
in
using
that
as
in
my
that album
ringtone.
were
There are just
actually
so
like
many things I
surprisingly
love about this album.
profound
The songs
for
have a
Green Day.
consistent sound to them, but every song
And
has
it
its
is
own
it is
character.
rather
It's
ambitious.
fantastic to hear the upbeatness of Holiday slow down into the ballad that is Boulevard, or to hear the anthem of We Are the Waiting.
The editing is so bad, it's good. Yeah.
Every song has its own character, which is just something I don't really get from an album like Dookie. Also, The story behind the making of this album,
Billy Joe
it's just
cracked
a
under from the
fantastic
unexpected
underdog
success of
story.
American
The
Idiot.
master tracks from
Yeah,
their
I think that
2003
is
album they were
definitely
recording
the
called
one
Cigarettes
thing
and
that
Valentines,
we
which
can
was
take
supposed to be a
negatively
return to
from
form
that from
after
American
straying from their
Idiot.
sound with the poorly
Is
received
that
Warning. Those
they've
tracks
been
were
chasing
stolen.
that
Keep in
high
mind that
ever
at this time,
since.
the popularity that
And
they
it's
gained
actually
from the
funny because
mid-90s
like
was starting to
the
wane.
trilogy
They
is one of
needed
their
to make their new
least
record fantastic, one
critically
that would
acclaimed
sell
projects,
millions, and
but
by
it
God,
at
they
least
did.
like tried to
Instead of
diverge from
re-recording the
that
songs, they decided to completely start
sound
from
a little
scratch
bit
and
and
went a
kind of go back to
completely
like
new
that
direction
garagey
that
sound.
nobody had ever
So
done before.
maybe it's not
They
all
made a
that bad,
punk rock
but
opera. And this
they
punk
also
rock
did
opera
that with
was a
Father of All, but
gigantic hit. The whole
that album
tells a
sucked,
story,
and they
which I
literally
think
just
is
stole the album
awesome
cover
because
for this.
I
Like
love
I
concept
don't even know
albums.
what's
And
going
although
on
I
with
think
that.
Warning is their most experimental record sound-wise, conceptually, American Idiot was definitely their most daring. And don't even get me started on how beautiful and heartbreaking the song Wake Me Up
I
in
would not
September
say a
is.
single
If you
musician
don't know
wanted
the
to
meaning
touch the
behind
top.
song, when Billy
Came
was
out
10,
where
his father
not
died.
a
He
single
left the funeral
musician
early
wanted
and
to
ran home
touch
and
a
locked
topic
himself
of
in his room.
war.
When his mom knocked on the
I
door
don't
and
think
asked him
that's
if he was
true. I
okay,
think
he
there
said,
was a
"Wake me
lot
up in
of
September." Billy's
anti-Bush
voice on
music
this album is the
before
perfect
this.
mix of their old sound and their modern sound. It's just sludgy enough to where you can hear the angst in his voice, but you can also understand what he's saying. He sounds vocally like
I
he
really
did
do
before,
like strings.
but for
That is
once,
true. I do
you
like
can actually
strings.
understand what he's trying to
Let me
say.
check.
You
Let
can
me
understand
see if I
the
can read the
message.
Instagram
Well, actually,
chat.
you can,
I haven't.
actually, you can say that for Warning too,
I
but
don't know if I can.
let's just forget
Am I
about
still
that
live?
one. After this album, you don't really get the same
Let me check
angst
if I'm
in
still
Billy's
alive.
voice that he once had. His voice just becomes a little bit nasally. Hell, this thing even had a Broadway musical adaptation,
Oh, shit.
which I saw. It was fantastic. American Idiot is still
I don't
my
know why it
favorite
goes
album
white
of
every
all
time
time.
I
And it's
change
the
to
album
something.
that
Yeah,
made
like
Green Day my
I'm still
favorite band
live,
of all
but
time. Well, that just about settles that.
There's
Remember,
ba-
if you
there's, like,
disagree
barely
with me,
anybody
let
here.
me know what you disagree with. And if you want
Again,
me to review
Instagram.
another
I
band,
apologize for
let
like
me know
being
that
like
too.
half of the
I'm not sure
video.
if this is
It's
something I'm going to
just
continue,
how
as
it
it's
is.
pretty different from what I've been doing, but I'll let
Because
the
I'm
jury
streaming
decide.
from OBS to
Alright,
multiple
so
platforms, but I'm
that's
also on YouTube.
And,
But
Godspeed.
did I like Saviors? Yes. I was very meh on it. I wouldn't say yes,
At Granger,
but there were
we're
parts
for
of
the
it I
ones who
liked.
pay attention to every little detail.
Okay, actually,
The
that
ones
video
who
wasn't
fuss
quite as
tinker inside
bad.
the small stuff.
That video
Because
wasn't
you know
quite as
tiny
bad as I
things can
thought it
make
would
the
be.
biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product
Oh, wow.
experts to
Okay,
help you
hold on. We
quickly
have
and
more.
easily find what you
Oh
need.
no, this is still
So
YouTube.
whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional
This is
grade
still YouTube.
products.
All right, get out.
Call
God, I have so many tabs.
Grainger.com
I got
or just
so
stop
many
by.
tabs.
Grainger, for the ones who get it
So
done.
many tabs. No, we don't need to watch the MCR one because I still greatly agree with that one, I think. Well, the ranking's the same. I know the Beatles one's rough. We'll have to watch that one. I mean, I gotta revisit the Weezer one, right? I gotta revisit the Weezer one. We'll do Weezer, and then we'll do, Weezer, we'll do the Beatles, and then I want to look at some of my old tier list videos.
A little bit to the left. This is good. I like this. This is a good angle. Yep, we're doing Weezer. Well, I know as far as Weezer's discography goes, it's a very controversial topic.
When was this? When was this uploaded?
Some people say they only have 2 good albums. Some people even
This was
go
probably
as
like
far as to
2020
think
maybe?
the worst of the worst.
20
Even
oh
my
wow,
list might
2018.
surprise you.
Same.
In fact, I
Wait.
can almost guarantee you it
Damn,
will.
I was.
Before you throw me a shitstorm, I just want you to
Huh.
know that
I was
this is
really
my
pumping these
opinion.
out, weren't I?
Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. And if you
Wasn't
do
I?
disagree with me, let me know because I'd love to argue with you. And if you agree with me, let me know too because it feels nice to have some backup.
The Oingo
Wow,
Boingo
so
one I
I'm
think is
taking this
probably
intro.
fine.
Shit, should've
I
written
think
something
that
down.
one's nothing wrong with that one.
Time to open up Weezer's Wikipedia page and read some facts to you that you probably already
All right, we don't need to watch the
Mine.
intro.
The triple treat box is back, so you
We
can
don't need to
holiday as
watch the
hard as
Triple Treat
this guy
Box
put the
Pizza
laptop
Hut
on the roof.
video.
And it's not a lot of shit for this one. However, but it's a Weezer list, honestly. The first one.
All right. Wow, only 11 albums at this point. Small Billy Too Quiet.
He's just standing there.
Let me know if should I turn up this video?
You couldn't avoid it.
Yeah,
But
I
it
actually
is Weezer's
yeah, the other video was
worst
louder, that's
album.
why.
Most, if not all, Weezer fans will agree
That
with
should be
this.
better.
I mean, I don't know what they were doing. I know Rivers is a weird guy, and he tries to stay in touch with like I don't know, the cool kids. So what I think he was
Zuri
trying
Part
to
2
do
is
here
better
was
than Zuri.
just
I
make
disagree.
a
I
commercial
like the
poppy
original Zuri
dance
better.
album, and it just doesn't
I think
work.
the
I mean,
the
I guess
Zuri
it kind
2
of
is a
makes
little,
sense because this
like, the
album
first
came
one
out
was a
in
little silly.
2009, which is like
The
when
second
radio
one takes
started
itself too
turning from
seriously,
pop
and there's
punk
too many slow
mostly
songs.
into
There's no like
today's
upbeat songs.
dance kind of music. So Rivers was probably just trying to fit in with the new sound, but god damn, it's Can't Stop Partying is probably the worst song on here.
It's a bad song, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it now just because it's like, you know, it's funny.
I do admit it actually has some tiny little catchy bits in it. I think the opening track,
Like,
if you're wondering if I want you to, I think that's pretty.
It's
a
stupid, but
pretty okay
it's kind of
song.
fun, you know.
It's really catchy, but that's honestly the best compliment I can give this album. I should probably just move
The
on
Alone
to the
2
next
version
one.
is good. It's okay. Honestly,
Why? Why did Weezer have to make this? They were doing so well.
yeah, this album's bad.
Like, why? Why? Just Pacific Daydream, like, before this they made a good album, a great album, and an amazing album. They hit right around the bullseye 3 times in a row, and then when Pacific Daydream came out, they just completely missed the target. I mean, I was so excited for this thing before it came out. Like, oh man, Weezer's been on the rise recently. I can't wait to hear what they release next. Oh look, a new Weezer single's out. I bet it's fantastic. Feels Like Summer. I don't really like the name of it, but let's give it a try.
Yeah, this song's ass. I can attest to that. Like,
Weezer,
this isn't
when they released Feels Like Summer.
Can't Stop Partying is
It's the worst
ironically
single.
enjoyable.
It's the worst single they've ever released.
Feels
I'm
Like
sorry,
Summer
but
is just
it
so
is.
bad.
And for those of you
It's
who are saying Beverly
unlistenable.
Hills is worse, it's not. Believe me. Pacific Daydream is like, they went back to trying to sound too poppy.
Yeah,
The
honestly,
guitars
this
are
album
barely
might be
present, and
worse.
when they are,
This
they're not
album might be
nearly as
worse than
distorted as I
Ratitude,
want Weezer guitars
if
to
I
be.
think about
All
it.
of the choruses on this thing just sound very similar and bland and cliched. I think there were
Ratitude
some
is, like,
small,
it's really
interesting
stupid
moments in this
and bad,
album.
but
I
it's,
like
like,
the verses to the
semi-charming.
song Beach Boys. I think
This
there
album
was something
just is
interesting going on
not
there a little
good.
bit with the bass lines. The production's okay, although it sounds a bit compressed. La Mancha Screwjob is kind of
Yeah, it has like this album has like 3 good
not
songs
really.
on it, maybe.
Sweet Mary has an interesting rhythm to it, but other than these, like, I can't.
How long has
I
this stream
can't-
been going for? Probably
this
like
really-
an
this-
hour or so.
Pacific Daydream really shows the worst in Weezer, and I really, really, really hope with the Black Album they improve.
Oh wait, hold on. We gotta talk about that. I really, really hope with the Black Album they improve. They fucking didn't. Well, they kind of did a little bit. There were some songs on there that I liked, but mostly no, they did not. They did improve with OK Human though, so they made up for it.
Jesus, Pitchfork, like, really? A 0.4 out of 10? I mean, I understand it's not their best work, but like, really? Alright, here's the thing. Everyone loves to hate on Make Believe. And though I agree that
Where
it's
would OK
definitely
Human go on
far
here? It
from
would
their
go at
best
number
work,
4.
I think it gets more
OK
hate than
Human
it
is-
deserves.
it
I
would
mean, yes,
be
at this time, Weezer had
Blue
sounded
Album,
more
I put
commercial
Pinkerton
than
at
ever.
number
They
1 on
became
this
complete
list. I would
sellouts,
put Blue Album
but the
above
Weezer
it.
sound is
Blue Album,
still,
Pinkerton,
it's still
White Album,
lingering.
OK
What I don't
Human,
like about this
everything
album
will be alright in
and
the
what I
end.
know
That's my
everyone
top
else
5.
doesn't like about this album is its repetitiveness. They use the same formula for almost every song. Every song's clocking in at like the 4-minute mark. But I still think this thing gets more hate than it deserves. I mean, yeah, Beverly Hills is definitely overplayed and it's definitely far from their best work, but I don't think it's as bad as people think or say it is. I think the song "Hold Me" is okay, and I think
Yeah,
most
Beverly
people
Hills
actually
isn't that
do
bad.
enjoy the
I
song
get-
"Perfect
I get that it
Situation," including
represents-
myself. I actually
get
really
why
do like
people
"Perfect
hate it.
Situation." I think it's a really
But
good
it's
song.
not
Everything
that
else,
bad of a
though,
song.
I mean, yeah, like I said before, it just kind of blends together. Nothing really too special, and that's where this album falls flat for me. But yeah, bottom line, Make Believe. I don't want to say it's underrated because it's Make Believe, but
I did put the Red Album at 4. That is
kinda
correct.
I know I'm gonna get so much shit for
that
saying
would probably
Guys,
be number
relax. It's still like
6
number
now.
9 on my list. It's their 3rd worst album.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm a former workers' compensation judge,
Mr. Williams,
and I used to
putting all
represent.
these ads.
All right.
Whoa,
Here-
whoa, got
Here's
no
the big
way
one.
green.
This is probably the most controversial thing I'm gonna say in this entire video. At number 8, we
I don't think it
have
was that
the Green
controversial,
Album. I think
actually.
a lot of people, if not most, would put this at maybe number 4. A lot of people would consider this Weezer's
There
best
probably
work
is a lot of
the
decent
2000s
amount
era, but I'm
of
gonna
just
say,
like
I don't think
normies
so. I think
that
they had a pretty good sound,
who
but
don't listen to that much
kind of like
Weezer
Make
who
Believe,
might
the
put this
sound is
one
very
higher,
consistent, as well
I mean,
as
even
very
Fantano
commercial.
put this
The Green
one pretty
Album, to
high,
me,
which
is
I was
just
surprised
like
by.
a better version
It's
of
not-
Make Believe.
it's not very
I mean, yeah,
good.
you got some pretty good singles on here, like Hash Pipe and Island in the Sun. I also like Simple Pages, but like, I can't think of many songs that stand out on this thing because they all just blend together. I mean, even this one has a formula almost as simple as the one on Make Believe. In fact, the songs on this album are even shorter than the ones on Make Believe, coming in at around 2.5 minutes on every song. It's just not enough for me.
Bard
I
is
don't
one of
know
my
what to
favorite
say.
albums from
Weezer's
last
Green
year.
Album?
I will have to
Overrated.
wait a little bit. Yeah, I like this album. I've definitely changed my opinion on.
Here's another one that I think
100%.
people are going to be surprised at. It's not that shocking. At number 7, we have Everything Will Be Alright in the End. This
I
album
would put
kind
it higher
of
now, for
represents
sure.
a return to form as far as
Not
their
like that
sound
much
goes.
higher, but
a lot of the
higher.
albums before this definitely saw Weezer changing their sound in some form or another. This kind of brought it back, though, to their early 2000s, if not late 90s kind of sound. But to me, it's more of the 2000s sound. And that's
I mean,
what
like,
have
I can
wrong with
kind
it.
of
The songs
understand that.
also
Like, it is a
kinda just
little bit
blend
more
together on this one.
straightforward than.
I mean, I like how they put in a lot of
Pinkerton or
cool
the Blue
sound
Album
effects and stuff in there to
compositionally,
make
but-
the album have more character to it.
But it
And the
definitely
themes
does
on it are
not
pretty
fall
good as
into the
well.
same
I really
category
like
as,
the
like, the
self-awareness
Green Album
on
or
the
Make
song I've
Believe
Had
or
It Up to
anything like that.
Here. It sounds like Rivers is talking to his fans. He knew all the shit that Weezer was getting in the
definitely-
years prior to this
I've
album. and
definitely,
he was fed up with it, and he made a
found
song
a-
about it. He
had
said,
a
"I had
newfound
it up to here.
appreciation for
I
this
don't
album
know what to give
after I
you,"
made this
and I really
video.
like that on that song. I think it's one of the highest on the record. This album definitely makes Weezer sound more mature, especially in retrospect to their previous albums that they released right before this one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The songs kind of just they're okay to me, at least. I think Rivers' vocals get lost in the album. Maybe if Rivers' voice stood out a little bit more, I might have enjoyed it more. However, the high point on this album for me, where it really sticks out, is the ending. The 3-part trilogy of songs at the very end,
Yeah,
I think
trilogy
is
was
the
always
best
good.
part of
I
the
did like
album.
that.
Definitely more experimental than the rest of the album. It kind of has a dark tone to it, but it's very interesting and very cool. Something that I really like to hear from Weezer. Something that I believe they did really well in their older records. Those last 3 songs, well, they're kind of one song piled into 3, but like that is the highlight of the record for me.
I don't really listen to Weezer that often anymore, surprisingly.
At number
So, like,
6,
some of
we
these
have
songs, like, hearing them
Maladroit.
again,
I
it's
think
like, oh,
Maladroit
man, that
is
was a good
definitely one
song.
of the most underrated Weezer albums.
Gotta do
Has some
another
really
deep
good
dive.
sounds to it. Kind of sounds like the offspring of the Red Album and Pinkerton. Like, it's fun, but it also kind of has like a sad, angry, heavy sound to it. It's weird to think that this thing came out
I did do
after
a
the
ranking
Green
for
Album,
myself.
'cause
I did
feel
2
like this
rankings for
sounds
myself. I
more
did an
like a
actual
natural
video, and then I
progression
did a
from
live stream
Pinkerton.
for
And I also
a
think
little
it's
bit
a major
later.
improvement from the Green Album. Some songs that stick out to me are Burnt Jam. I like the guitars on that song. I really like Death and Destruction. I think that one sticks
Yeah,
out
I
more
don't
than
know,
any
I-
of the other songs on this
I
one.
get the
first
idea for this
definitely-
Wow, holy shit, I'm only halfway through the video and I'm at number 5. That's crazy. Hurley, I still really do like Hurley. Maybe I'm not as crazy about it as I was when I made this video, but it definitely does have some bangers. This song, Memories, honestly, like, I come back to this song a lot. I love this song.
At number 5, we have Hurley. Some people say that Hurley's one of Weezer's worst albums, and I don't understand why they would say that.
Weezer's?
I really like Hurley. I mean, it's a really decent album. The opening song, Memories, is one of my favorite Weezer songs, honestly. It's very distorted, and
One of
Rivers
my
probably
favorite
sounded the
is
angriest he
maybe a
ever
little
has
bit
on this song.
crazy,
but it's
but
like the kind of angry
it
that's
is
like
very good. I
sarcastic.
do like it
it's
quite a
just
bit.
like screaming, but you don't actually like mean it. Also, just
Rolling
like
Me
the
is good
themes
too,
of the
that's
song,
also
it's
true.
Like,
It's a little
like
corny,
upbeat
but I
song,
do
but
like
it's kinda
Rolling
like
Me.
sad. But that's exactly what
My
Weezer
ocular
is.
nerve
They're just
goes
fun,
pop
upbeat,
soon.
but also sad songs. I mean, that's literally what I think Weezer is about. And I think the song Memories just represents that so well. I also love the way that song opens, as well as the way it opens the album with like the instruments tuning.
Will
It's
I do
nice
a
to hear some
Joji
strings on a
ranking when that
Weezer
new album drops?
And the chorus almost
Brother,
gives me like
I'm
a
sorry
Strokes
to break
vibe
it to you.
almost. I can't say enough
never
good things
listened
about
to
the
a
song
full
Memories,
Joji
but I'm not
album.
reviewing
I've
the song
only
Memories.
listened
I'm
to
reviewing the
the
album
some
Hurley. So
songs
I mean,
here
the
and there.
following song after Memories is pretty good too. Ruling Me.
I was never that
it's-
much into
it's a fun
Joji,
song.
but sometimes
the guitars
he
are very
releases a song
present on that
that I
one,
like.
which I really like. Trainwrecks is another good one where the guitars are present. The vocals
I liked
are a little
Filthy
bit
Frank
weird, but
in high
I
school,
mean, I
but
don't know. I got used to it.
not
at
a
this
big
point.
Joji
I think
fan.
Unspoken is a really nice acoustic song. I always love a good Rivers solo acoustic song on a Weezer record.
Is Runaway still
is
my
another
fave?
high
I think
on this album.
probably I like
it's
Memories
a very
more.
good song. Time Flies is also a really good one as well, although the production fucking sucks. I can look past that though because the song's really good.
I don't think the
lowest
production
point on this
sucks. I
album
think
is
it was a
probably Where's My
deliberate
Sex,
choice
but
to make
I
it
can
overblown.
listen to that without cringing,
And
honestly.
some people
as long as you
can't
can
get
listen
past
to it
that.
without cringing,
now I
it's
can,
not horrible.
because
If
I'm a
there's any
better
problems
listener.
I have with Hurley, it's just the fact that most of the songs have like the same dance beat to them.
That's true.
But other than that, I mean, it's a really good album.
Do you think I'll ever do an updated version of these videos? Not all of them. Maybe I kind of thought about maybe doing like a video where I just like release the rankings, like the new rankings. But I feel like this is kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm just talking about these things. I don't know. Maybe. That's a great song. The Red album, man, it's so disappointing. I wish they could have just like nailed it and had every song be as good as some of the songs on there are. There's like a
Number
4-song
four,
run on
we
there
have
that's really
The
bad.
Red Album. Now, this one is also a pretty controversial one. I agree that the Red Album is a mixed bag. It might have 1 or 2 or 3 bad songs on it, but honestly,
got
the
4
highs
bad
on this
songs
thing
on
for
it.
me, they just make the album. There's only 10 songs.
I
but
can still
somehow
agree
the
with this.
highs
The
on
Red
thing
album, like
brought it all the way up
it
to
does
number
have
4 on
like
my list.
multiple
Now, the album
songs that
opener
are
is
like
definitely a
all-timer
polarizer.
Weezer songs.
I feel like it's one of those songs that everyone loves to say they hate, but they secretly like. I know how Weezer fans like to joke that Troublemaker is low-key a bop, but they don't like to admit it. Maybe some of the lyrics are a bit cheesy, but Troublemaker is an okay song. I kind of like it.
Are you on crack?
I think it's a good album opener.
No, it definitely would be on
Rivers
the
sounds very
Weezer
sarcastic
console
on
if
it.
it,
I mean, like, yeah,
if
it's
they had
kinda
just
stupid in
replaced
parts,
the
but,
bad
like,
songs that
I
made the
feel like it
final
sounds
record with
self-aware.
some of the
As long as
B-sides
you
that
know
were
how
good,
stupid you are, then you can be as stupid
it
as
would
you
be
want.
great.
But then the following song,
which I might even say in this video.
The Greatest Man That Ever Lived is like it's a journey. Rivers wanted to cover a bunch of different styles of different bands. Although this sounds like a Carrie
I
Cat
can
song.
agree with that.
And then it's followed by Pork and Beans, which I think is one of their best singles. I mean, it's
I
corny,
do love
but
Pork
it's
and
funny.
Beans.
The lick is a bit wacky. But yeah, Pork and Beans is like, it's an anthem. It's a stupid song, but it's an anthem. You just can't argue with it. I even think Heart Songs
Filthy
is a pretty
Rank
good
ranking
song.
from
It's a nice
filthy
little
to
acoustic
filthiest.
Jam. I mean,
That would have
who
been a
doesn't
good
like
video,
little
like,
acoustic jam? Dreamin' is
maybe
another
10
great
years
song
ago.
on this thing. I mean, it changes throughout
But
the song.
I don't think it
Starts
would
off
hit
a little
today,
upbeat.
unfortunately.
And then it gets really slow, and the birds start chirping. I really like that song. I like Dreamin'. I think Cold Dark World is okay.
Dreamin'
Automatic, the
in
guitar part is pretty interesting. But, oh man, the best song on this album, The Finisher, The Angel and the One, is so good. I mean,
is
you
good.
can
It
say
is
what you
good.
want about the Red Album,
don't know if
but
it's-
you just can't disagree that The Angel and the One is a fantastic song.
It is a good song.
It's
It's a good
beautifully
song.
written. The lyrics are just angelic. The guitar sounds really dark and sad, but it's also uplifting at the same time. It's just an awesome album finisher. Speaking of album finishers, I think this album actually gets even better when you add the bonus tracks to it. Pig is a really good song, but bonus tracks aside, this thing is still really good. I put it at my number 4 spot. I do have to admit though, the song Everybody Get Dangerous, it's pretty bad.
That's the one I chose. I mean, that is bad, but...
You're on a sinking ship. The California kids will show you a lifeline.
This is still like one of my favorite albums.
At number 3,
I love
we
the
have
White
the
Album
White
so
Album.
much.
You know what? Honestly, The White Album is my personal favorite Weezer album. I don't think it's their best though. I'm just so personally connected to this album. I mean,
I'm gonna agree with everything I say about this, so I'm just gonna skip through it. I still love that album.
Play. Definitely, it's also another good video. Also 19 years for its
somehow, yeah.
hidden tree. Some genius goes. Sounds like old Weezer, but it's still love this album.
I will say like, hold on, I'll go back to this. I will say like I've seen like a lot of like every once in a while like Weezer will release a new song that's like in a minor key, and people are like, oh my god, it's the Pinkerton, it's the Pinkerton that hasn't come out in so long. And they do that with it's the same thing as Saturday Night Live. Like once in a blue moon, I can't even say that. SNL. Once in a blue moon, SNL will come out with like a funny, semi-funny sketch, and people will share it and be like, "Oh my god, this is like the old SNL. We missed this SNL back when it was funny." And that happens like once a year, maybe like once every 2 years. It's the same thing with Weezer. Like they will release a song, like maybe one song on an album that maybe it doesn't even sound deliberately like Pinkerton, but like it has like a minor mode or a minor key or something, and it's like, oh my god, this is the Pinkerton Weezer that we've all wanted. I will say, with Do You Want to Get High, it is a little bit more justified because they do have that. Yes, a similar cadence, but also like similar instrumentation, especially with that synthesizer sound.
Finally play.
So I get it, but like I hate when people do that.
King of the World is also really well written, very
People
fun
with Haunt You
one.
Every Day.
Definitely sounds
Yeah,
like
and like a bunch of the
can
demos that
aspire to
came
get
out. People
high.
say that
It's
with
not
like,
the
oh
best
my
on the
god,
record, but it's
the
still a good
make believe
song.
demos
And
are
then
literally
this thing ends on
Pinkerton
Endless
Part
Summer, which is
2.
another
They're
great
not. They're
acoustic
really
Weezer
not.
song.
Like
I
they're
love this
good,
album
but
to
they're
death,
not.
and
They
honestly,
don't
I
sound
think I'm
anything
gonna be
like
listening
Pinkerton.
to it for the rest of my life. Big debate. Now, before I mentioned all the time,
So
one is
basically. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like listening to myself praise these two albums for however long, but I would switch the Blue Album and Pinkerton. I think Blue Album's #1 and Pinkerton's #2. But yeah, all right. The last worst to best we're gonna watch before we watch some of the tier lists, if I can find some good ones, is the Beatles one. Because I remember this one being bad. I'm afraid to watch this one.
Everything is clear in my heart. Oh, fucking hell, what's that, Nick? Oh, like, don't start changing fucking reels in the middle of a take.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Remember when that was a meme?
Alright, we're back with another worst to best. Give me a kiss, Yoko.
Alright, yeah, we're doing the Beatles. For those of you that have been living under a rock, they've done many stuff spectacular, as influential, and as just as great as them. Pink Floyd, in my opinion, comes very close to them, but that's for another day. Alright, let's start this list before this thing gets too long.
It's funny,
Number 13.
at this point I still thought like Pink Floyd was like the second best band of all time.
Friday is company karaoke.
I still love
90s
Pink
pop
Floyd,
theme.
don't get me wrong. And maybe to some people they are, but I think I don't like them quite as much as I used to. I do like them, don't get me wrong.
This one shouldn't be
But, like,
shocking at all. Yellow
my
Submarine
scope
consists
of music at
mostly
that point
songs that
was
we've already
like
heard
so
on other
much
albums.
smaller.
The rest of the album is
So
just
like
an instrumental score
listening to
composed by
Pink
George
Floyd, I was like,
Martin
I
for the
literally had
movie
never
Yellow
heard something
Submarine,
like that
which
before.
the actual Beatles had barely anything to do with. So yeah, I think it's fair to say this is the worst Beatles album, if it even counts as a Beatles album.
It won't be long, yeah, 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 it won't be long, yeah, yeah, yeah.
At number 12,
I definitely
we
gave
have
these
With
albums,
the
like the
Beatles.
earlier
Now,
albums,
this
too
era
much
of the
flack.
Beatles, I'm not particularly a huge fan of. See, before I really got into the Beatles,
I
just
like
pictured them as, you know,
I
the
like
early
this era
60s
more
boy
now.
band
I do
that
like
came from
their
this
second
era.
half of their
Band
career
that
more
people went nuts
still,
over,
but
mostly teenage girls, and believe me, people went crazy for them.
that clip is still pretty crazy.
Ringo has a sexy nose.
But I never really understood
Ringo
the massive
has a
appeal of
sexy
these early
nose.
songs, as for the most part, they do seem to be conforming a little bit to, you know, the popular sound of the time. All the songs on not only this
I think that's a
album, but
stupid
the
thing
other
to say,
albums from this
considering
era of the Beatles
they
are
were
about
the popular sounds.
mostly
To say that the
love
Beatles were
and
conforming
just
to
corny
the
things like
popular
that, and the
sound is
lyrics
like
also
just
kinda
so
support
stupid.
that. The lyrics from this era are just kind of sappy and not really that clever. But yeah, I just think.
I mean, I can attest to that a little bit. The lyrics by
1962
some of the standards that they set later for themselves are a little bit.
I can't even think of any songs on this
sappy.
album that
I can
really
agree to
stick
that.
out to me as special or important. It even has a cover on it of "Roll Over Beethoven," which was a pretty popular thing to do back in the day, as they thought, you know, when more bands like this. At number 11, we have their debut, Please Please Me. This one is also from that era that I'm not a huge fan of. However, there are a few small songs on this one that I actually think just stand out a little bit. Like I Saw Her Standing There, or Please Please Me. You know, just these classic Beatles songs that a lot of people know. This was them introducing their new sound to the world, and I think it's okay. Maybe it was much more mind-blowing for the time, but as for right now, with all the music that we have, I think it's just okay. Please don't crucify me for saying any of that.
I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week.
At number 10, we have Beatles for Sale.
I
This
would.
is another one that
I'd
I'm
probably
just gonna
put their
kinda power through.
debut
I think the
over
sound
this.
is a little bit improved here, but for the most part, it still sounds the same as the other two records I previously mentioned. I think the intro song, No Reply, is pretty good and a little bit different. 8 Days a Week is another
sap.
Beatles classic. But yeah, again, this one.
Yeah,
just
I
is
kinda do
kinda
like the
okay.
sap
It blends in
as
with a
well.
lot of those other records from this early Beatles era. Moving on.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9. At number 9, we have A Hard Day's Night. Now, this one in the early Beatles discography, I believe, sticks out a tad more than some of the others. The opening song, A Hard Day's Night, is pretty good and some pretty clever lines on it.
Reminds
It's
me
not
of the
about
Blue
girls
Album
for
'cause of the
once. It's
harmonica.
about, you know, the struggle of
I never
their work.
made that connection,
If I
but
Fell is
I
another
can see
classic,
where you're coming
although, you
from.
know, it's just kind of another mushy love song. And I Love Her, Can't Buy Me Love. I'm just gonna say this one's better than okay.
I need somebody.
Better than okay. Yeah,
Not
okay,
just
buddy.
anybody. You know I need someone.
At number 8, we have Help, which is, I believe, the best of the early Beatles era.
I
It
can
is also
still-
the
I
last
can
album
agree
before
to
they
that.
went into some really interesting directions with experimentation. The first song, Help, is a pretty nice tune. It's just about getting help when you need it. John Lennon actually said this is one of
I
his
did
favorite
watch the
songs
Hard
that he
Day's
ever
Night
wrote,
movie,
which
but I
I'm
barely
surprised
remember
at,
it because
but,
I only
I
watched
mean,
it once.
You know, he's the one who wrote it, so, you know, I can't judge. You're Gonna Lose That Girl is kind of catchy. Take It to Ride, another classic. I like the song Act Naturally. I think it's nice and playful. I've Just Seen a Face is another one that I love on this thing. It's pretty simple, but I like the upbeat acoustic sound to it. Finally, Yesterday, I think it might be the best song on the album. I think it's pretty cleverly written, so kudos to Paul McCartney. I also like the emotion on it, so yeah, again, kudos to Paul McCartney.
It's a very vague description. I think it's cleverly written. I mean, so far the ranking isn't that bad.
At number 7, we have
But,
Let
like,
It
the
Be.
descript- like,
Finally,
the
we're
way
in the
I-
better era of the Beatles.
the way I talk
now,
about
Let It Be is
why
interesting because
I-
although
like,
it wasn't the
the
last album
descriptions
they
I don't
recorded,
like.
it was the last album that they released. The sessions for Let It Be were recorded before Abbey Road. It's interesting to think why they didn't release until late. I think the songs are pretty damn good on it. The opening song, Two of Us, is a good opener. It's a nice song to drive to. Across the Universe is one that just kind of makes you get lost in space. I Mean Mine is very dark sounding and very powerful. I really like it.
I do
Who
think
doesn't
Let It
know
Be
Let
gets
Be?
more flack than it deserves. I mean, I understand why it gets flack because it's kind of a very mishmashed album with like live performances and
You know, just
like
very
leftover songs
uplifting
kind of,
power
but
rock song. The Long and Winding Road is pretty good as well, but
it
as
does
for the
have
rest
some-
of the
it
album,
does have
the
some-
songs are okay. They just
some
kind of
pretty good
sound
da-
like
pretty
jam
damn good
sessions,
songs on
to
it.
be honest. But
I mean,
Beatles
this
jam
was-
sessions
this
are
was the
amongst
Beatles
the
in their
best
element,
jam sessions
you know?
out there.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody.
At At number 6, we got 1965's Rubber Soul. Now, 1965 was a very interesting year for rock and roll. It was the year that Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited came out, and it completely changed what rock and pop could do. Taking some inspiration from this, the Beatles also started to go in directions that were unheard of before. The outcome,
The
Rubber
Across the
Soul.
Universe
now, the Beatles
movie,
sound
the,
from the early Beatles years, 1962 to 1964.
Oh, yeah, I know what I've never seen
still
it, but
lingers within this record, but they really were doing some interesting things.
I
in
might
there.
watch
this
it at
was
some
the
point.
album that
It looks
helped
kinda
push
interesting.
folk rock into the mainstream, as well as give it some extra life. The song Norwegian Wood is a perfect example of this. Very interesting sitar. This is the first later records and their later songs, and their dive into psychedelic music. Overwhelmingly sad sounding, but it's super interesting. And In My Life is actually my favorite Beatles song. It just has a really good
I changed my
feeling
mind
to
on
it, a
that.
really good
That's not my
sound,
favorite
and a
Beatles song
really good
anymore.
message. I think what
Probably
brings
not
this
even
record
top 10.
down
I mean, it's a
little
great
bit
song,
is the fact
but it's
that
not.
some of the
I don't even
songs
think it's in
do
my top
sound
10. I
like
think my
the
favorite
early
Beatles song now is
but those
"A
songs
Fool in the
aside,
Hill."
the
Fool in the
Sing
Hill.
is really interesting, very influential, very different.
I
and
still agree.
just very
Oh wait,
great.
do I still agree with my M-Star rating? Actually, I said that I do, but I realized that I don't. My MCR ranking is just their albums in reverse.
At number 5, we have Magical Mystery
Also,
Tour.
I would put
Now, when
Magical
people
Mystery
rank
Tour as my
Beatles
number
albums,
one now,
I think this one
probably.
often ranks a lot lower than it should. It is
Surprisingly.
commonly agreed
But yeah,
that some
for
of the songs
MCR,
on
it'd
this
probably
thing
be Danger
are
Day.
the
Like,
best Beatles
my
songs
ranking
ever
would,
made.
from
Songs
worst to
like
best
I
would
Am
be
the Walrus, where it's
Conventional
just
Weapons,
crazy
Danger
psychedelic,
Days,
all
Black
these
Parade,
weird
Three
sounds, and all
Cheers,
these
Bullets.
different directions. The lyrics
But
are
they're all
super
good. They're all
out
good,
there.
don't get me
the
wrong, but,
instrumentation is super weird.
that
but
would be
this
my
is
new ranking.
exactly what I love about the Beatles. Another one of those
Is
songs
Donnie
that
Darko still
most
my
people
favorite movie?
agree is one of the
Yes.
Beatles' best songs.
I would
if
say
not
yes,
their
but
best
it's like
song, is
close, you know.
Strawberry
It's
Fields
like hard.
Forever.
It's hard
This
to
one
choose
is
between
also
that
just
and
super
American
interesting
Graffiti.
with the instrumentation and the strings. The lyrics are also just super weird, but it's also like very beautiful and dark. I gotta hand it to George Martin, which I personally would call the fifth Beatle. He's the one responsible for all these string arrangements, all these weird sounds. He's the one who really
Yeah, I
brings
agree to
life
that
these
still.
songs.
George Martin
But there's
is-
also some other great ones on this, like The Fool on
the
the
real
Hill,
fifth
which
Beatle.
I think the lyrics are genius, the instrumentation is genius. Your Mother Should Know is lane makes it sounds like they were piggybacking off the idea of that, but that's at number 4 we have Revolver. Now, although they were dipping their feet into the water,
I
with
would probably
different
put
sounds and
Revolver lower, to be
experimentation
honest.
with Rubber
I don't
Soul,
know. I have
think
such
they really
mixed
took the
feelings about
plunge with
Revolver.
Revolver. The opening song,
I
Taxman,
change
is a
my
good
mind on
one.
it all the
Then
time.
The following song, Eleanor Rigby, is
'Cause it has-
one of the
it
best
has,
Beatles songs, and probably one of the best songs
Oh
ever.
god,
written.
my
This is
mind's
definitely
my
one of
brain
my
is farting
favorites,
right
as
now, but
it's
it
just
has
very
the
different
closing
and very
song on
dark.
that album
The
is
lyrics
so
are super
good.
depressing. I gotta hand it to George Martin for the string work. I really love his work with the Beatles, and this is just one of those songs that, make you realize, like, wow, this is what the buzz of the Beatles is all about. Like, just to think
Imagine
that
if
3
young
years
Billy
before
just
this, they
started
were
to
making,
aggressively
sappy
talk directly to
love
Billy out of
songs, and
nowhere. He's
now
like,
they write a
"Hey
song
man,
like
I'm
Eleanor
only
Rigby
19.
about
I'm
how
doing my
people can be
best,
lonely,
all right?"
Into their deaths, and how nobody would show up to their funeral and they'd be forgotten forever. Just dark things like that. It's overwhelmingly gorgeous. Following song, I'm Only Sleeping, is very drowsy, if that's the right word. Love You Too is just a full dive into Indian music influence, with sitars and whatever else. I think there's a bagpipe in there, I'm not really sure. Here, There, and Everywhere is a really nice one. Yellow Submarine is a little bit corny, but it's catchy. I love the melodies and lyrics on She Said, She Said, as well as the instrumentation. Good Day Sunshine is a little bit upbeat for my taste, but it is a fun one to listen to on, say, a sunny day. For No One, I love the piano arrangements and just the overall sound. Gotta Get You Into My Life, some pretty good horn arrangements. Yeah, I don't really
I still
think
have
there
that
is a
shirt,
bad
and
song
it
on
does
this
not
thing.
fit me
I mean,
very
it
well
is
anymore.
regarded as one of the best albums of all time, so that's not surprising. At number 3, we have their self-titled album, or otherwise known as
I've
the
never
White
heard-
Album, which is actually
I
a
don't
double
think I've ever heard the
album,
Ween
which
cover,
means
she
it's
said.
unbelievably long. I do
think I
think there
have,
is some
surprisingly.
filler in there, but the songs that do stand out really stand out. The album opens great with Back in the USSR, while My Guitar Gently Weeps is beautifully written, Kudos
Yeah,
to George
I'd have to
Harrison.
give this
They
ranking
should've
a
let him
think,
write more
a nice
songs.
little thinky
Happiness
thunk
is a Warm Gun is also a pretty
about
good
where
one.
I'd put
I'm
things
So
now. I
Tired
know the
is a
Magical
great
Mystery
song to
Tour is
listen
my
to
new
after
favorite.
a long day when you just want to lay down and die.
The White Album,
Blackbird
I'm
is
like,
one of Paul
I have
McCartney's most
kind of,
iconic songs.
I don't know.
Rocky Raccoon is a little bit weird, but I actually really like
I
it.
remember the
Helter
last time I listened
Skelter
to
is
it, I don't remember
mind-blowing,
if
despite
my
the
feeling
horrific
was,
stories
this
attached to
isn't
it.
as good as I used to think it was, or if my feeling was, this is better than I used to think it was. I don't remember. It was one of the two.
It is just super heavy, super loud. I just never pictured, you know, the Beatles making a song that sounds like this. I believe this was one of the songs that actually started the genre of metal.
Why did
Like, who would
MMT
have
grow
thought
on
that
you
the
so
Beatles
much?
were partially
I
responsible
don't know.
for
I think
the invention of metal music.
like we were talking about
Revolution 1
Tomorrow
is
Never
pretty
Knows,
catchy, an
and like
interesting message
just
from
how
John
like
Lennon.
out there that
Revolution
song
9,
is,
although
and
it's
just how
pretty much
cool
8
it
minutes
sounds
of
and like
nonsense,
otherworldly.
I
And
still
I feel like
think it's super
almost every
interesting. A
song
like
on Magical
Revolution
Mystery
9
Tour
where it's
kind of
just a
has that
bunch of
sound to
different
it,
weird
to an
random
extent. Some more than
sounds, that would
others obviously.
never
Never I don't
make
know,
it
just
on
like
a
every
record
song
in,
is
say,
catchy.
1964. And this
It
same
has
only
like some of
came
their
out 4
best
years later than that.
experimentation.
Despite this record's highs, I definitely think that it does
All You
have
Need
its
Is Love is a
lows.
classic.
You know, songs like,
Like, I just love that song.
Birthday, you know, just those filler songs. But because
Fool in the
this
Hill is
album
my
so
all-time
long,
favorite
I
song
think
by
it's kinda
them. Strawberry
forgettable.
Fields
Oh, yeah,
Forever
another
is
great
one of
song
their
I forgot
best,
to
like
mention was Your Blues.
their best
That's
George
another
Martin
one of my
songs, one of
favorites.
their best songs. Period.
You're asking me
I Am the Walrus, another great one. Like Your Mother Should Know, love that song. Like it's just got so many songs I love. Like it takes like I'll pause this for a second to talk about it, but like Magical Mystery Tour, like I love Sgt. Pepper, and you'll see it's my number one in this video, but like I feel like Magical Mystery Tour just kind of like hones in on like the weirdest tracks of Sgt. Pepper and like just kind of like delivers a nice solid collection of songs that really push their limits creatively. And like it's just like it's Magical Mystery, or it's Sgt. Pepper like turned up to 11, and I love that.
At number 2, we have Abbey Road.
And Abbey
It's
Road is still very
probably
good.
the most iconic album
I hate
cover
something I
of
say
all
in this
time,
video, or
as well
I
as one of the
fucking
most
hate,
iconic
though.
albums in general
I
of
hate
all time.
something I
people
say
even go
during
to say
this
is
part of the review.
Best album of all time. And although I don't think it's the best Beatles album, I certainly do not blame them for thinking that way. The opening song "Come Together" is iconic.
Blue
very
Jay Way is
popular
another
bass
great one.
line. The following song "Something" is very beautifully written. Frank Sinatra said it was his favorite pop song ever made. Maxwell Silver Hammer is another wonderfully written song about murder. I love Paul's wailing vocals on "Oh Darling." Following song "Octopus's Garden," a great Ringo song. Another one that just makes you kind of feel great. And the next one, "I Want You" or "She's So Heavy," one of the Beatles' heaviest songs. Amazing. This thing clocks in at almost 8 minutes long. It's got tempo changes. It's got meter changes. The guitars are just so heavy. John screams on it. It's a good one. I'm glad it's as popular as it is. Here Comes the Sun, another happy Beatles song. You Never Give Me Your Money is
Another
a nice
happy
piano
Beatles
song.
song.
Sun King is beautifully mellow. The next few songs kind of blend together for me, but they still have a pretty good sound to them. And
Like,
they carry
what
that
the fuck was I saying here? The next few songs kind of blend together for me, but they're still good. Like, obviously they fucking blend together. It's a medley. It's supposed to blend together, you imbecile.
That way
Like,
is a very
oh, I
uplifting
hate
song.
that.
The end
Why did I
is
say
a
that?
good finisher, although it technically isn't the finisher because the following song, Her Majesty, finishes that one off. But yeah, Her Majesty is also another great finisher.
Her Majesty's
It's
a pretty
very
nice
simple, but
girl,
it's
but she
very nice,
doesn't
and I
got
just
a
think
lot
it
to
finishes
say.
the album
But
perfectly. There will never
Majesty's a
be
pretty
another
nice
Abbey
girl.
Road. There will never be another album with artwork as iconic.
I gotta tell
music
her that
as
I love
iconic,
but I
or
gotta
just
get a belly
as
full of
downright
wine.
popular. It's like
Her Majesty's a
legendary
pretty nice
status.
girl.
It's weird to
Someday
think
I'm
that
gonna
I'm
make
gonna
a
be alive
mine.
when this
Oh
thing
yeah,
turns
someday I'm
100,
gonna
and I
make a
would not be
mine.
surprised if by then the cultural impact of this album would still be there, as well as its popularity. I expect to see this album cover for a long, long time. Now, despite all this praise, it's still not my number one. And if you know the Beatles' discography, you know what's coming next. And honestly, it shouldn't be very surprising. At number 1, we have
Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
That's right, folks. Sgt.
Yeah,
Pepper's
Sgt. Pepper's
Lonely
might
Hearts Club
still be
Band
my
is,
number 2.
I believe,
I don't know.
the best.
It's in
Beatles
between
album.
Abbey Road
Usually,
and
if you go
Sgt.
on a
Pepper
list
for
to
number
see
2.
what the best album ever made was, it's either this or the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, which in my opinion are both worthy for the title. But we're not talking about the Beach Boys. We're talking about the Beatles.
I definitely like
Although I
Pet
said
Sounds more.
Revolver
Pet
took
Sounds
the
is like
plunge
my
with experimentation.
Pet Sounds is my
I think
in my
Sgt.
letterbox
Pepper's Lonely Hearts
top
Club
4
Band went
albums.
even
If that was
further.
a thing.
If Revolver is fully submerged in the water, then Sgt. Pepper is Mariana's Trench.
I would say my
Now, this
personal
thing pretty
favorite
much
4
invented
albums
psychedelic
are
music
The
with
Mollusk,
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds,
by
a
Ween,
fantastic song,
the White Album
very
by
well put
Weezer,
together, pushed the boundaries of recorded music.
Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, and Bullets by
Sgt. Pepper's
MCR.
Lonely Hearts Club
Those are
Band,
probably my
which
4
I think is a
favorite albums.
really interesting concept. I love it when artists put on a different persona. I'm also a huge fan of concept albums. And
Will
this
I ever
album
perform in
utilizes
Philly?
those
I
two
mean, I have
perfectly, but yeah, the
before.
opening track just
Will I do it
introducing
again? I
themselves,
don't know.
and it's
Maybe,
a
probably.
very
I
nice
hope so.
sounding
I
one.
just
and that one fits
like
perfectly
just
into With a
logistically,
Little
I
Help
gotta
from My
figure that
Friends,
shit out.
which is one of Ringo's
right now
best
is not a good
songs.
time.
I already talked about Lucy in the Sky with
I'll
Diamonds.
just have to
It's
feel it out.
amazing.
I want
Getting Better
to,
sounds like
but-
another one of those happy Beatles songs.
Do I
but it
believe in
actually has some
MCR
very
5?
dark lyrics to it. Talks about getting out
I
of a
don't
very
know
dark
at this
place.
point,
It
really.
even talks
I will
about
tell you what I do
beating
believe.
a man's wife in one point. Following song Fixing a Hole.
Yeah, we get the idea. But I think I do say, hold on, I think I do say like something like one of the songs on here was like She's Leaving Home. I love that song so much now, and I don't think I appreciate it as much as I should have in this video. But anyways, as far as MCR Think 5, I'll tell you what I do believe. I do believe that the only reason they haven't released music is because of Gerard. Because Frank's obviously still making music. Like Ray, whenever they like release like a promo or something, like Ray's always the guy behind it. Like he does the compositions and stuff. Mikey always does like Mikey is so Mikey's probably more enthusiastic about the band than any of them. So like I think like they're all excited, like they would all be excited to do new music, but like Gerard wants it to be perfect, and I think he's afraid of releasing a new album. I think he's afraid of trying to like make it something like capture like that same energy that they had. He's afraid it might not be as good. But also like keep in mind like Gerard is like the main songwriter and also like the leader of the band, so like he controls what they do really. And I've heard this from people who say they've like heard things from like inside sources that like this is true, that like Gerard is the band runner and like everything. But like also keep in mind like Gerard released one solo album and then dipped. Like he released a couple singles after that, even though he said he was going to release more albums. He never did. So he hasn't actually released an album in over 10 years. So I don't know if he has it in him anymore to make an album. I think they can. I just don't know if Gerard wants to. And that's the issue, I think. And also, like, another thing with MCR5 is, like, let's face it, the band's getting pretty old at this point. Gerard's voice is not as good as it used to be. It's still good, but, like, he's singing, all of his live songs are half a step down. And, like, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, their live shows for the foreseeable future, like at least a year in advance from now, or like this whole year, they're still Black Parade themed. So like they're still just performing the Black Parade and like some other songs. So it's not like they have room to make shows this year about a potential new album that would come out, because I don't think they would release a whole new album and then just not do any shows for it. I don't think they would do that. So booking this whole year for Black Parade shows tells me that they don't plan on releasing an album, because then they would have to make a tour, you know, like half and half, or like they wouldn't make a tour about an old album when they just released a new one, you know. It doesn't make sense. So if it does come out, I think it'll be a while. I think hopefully, ideally, this time off that they've taken for like the past couple months from the tour, they've been working on stuff and recording. I know there's been like leaks from Rate Your Music or not Rate Your Music, from Has It Leaked, that said that they're working on stuff. But that's been said for years, so I don't know if they'll ever release it, or you know, what the case is. I just don't know. I don't know. I wanted to believe in MCR5. MCR5 is the Half-Life 3 of music. I want to believe. I still want to believe, but like the optics, like being realistic, it might be a long shot. It might be, unfortunately. Am I projecting? I don't think so. I think I'm just trying to give a logical explanation for why I think MCR5 might not happen. Because I think a lot of people are kind of delusional with it, and they like come up with all these stupid, ridiculous theories that make no sense. But like Foundations was very good. Foundations was very good, and if that was their last song, it would make sense. I'd be happy with it. I just wish that while the band still is able to, and while they're while they're an actual functioning touring band, they should make one more album. I think 5 is a good number. 5 is a good number. I think they can do it. I think they can do it, and they should do it. All right, let's see. Billy Cobb tier list. Okay. 90s rock tier list, thousands rock tier list, classic rock tier list. We'll do the classic rock tier list because this one's bad. This one is bad. This was 4 years ago. 6 years ago.
I choose the Venus Cubic Razor, made for coarse hair and thin skin, with an irritation defense.
Hi. So unless you live under a rock, you've seen that tier lists have been blowing up on YouTube recently thanks to iDubbbz. And I wasn't really that compelled to do any until I saw this one video about a classic rock ranking. And I don't know, I think the ranking in that video just made me so mad that I feel like I had to make my own. So without further ado, here is my tier list ranking for classic rock bands.
Someone said you're
So here we have our tier
on
list
Instagram.
and our bands. I do wish there were some more bands on here like the Beach Boys or King Crimson, but we'll just have to work with what we have. Let's try to start by putting some bands in the F tier. Alright, I think the only band that I can put in the F
that's
tier
why I thought it was
here
Bon Jovi, because of the
is
fucking...
AC/DC. AC/DC kind of makes a lot of the same sounding songs, and their music's just really simple too. Alright, let's see who we can put in D tier. First band I'm putting in D tier is Aerosmith.
AC/DC
I like Aerosmith. I think they have a lot of good songs, and they're definitely one of the biggest bands that you would think of when you think of classic rock. But they don't do anything too experimental, too mind-blowing. They're not bad though. Bon Jovi is also going to go in D tier.
Bon Jovi. Okay. Let me defend myself a little bit here. This was bad. This was bad. I mean, first of all, I don't even know why I was even like thinking about Bon Jovi and it would even fit into this list because it's like a completely different era. But like my brain saw like the on and the Joe, and like that E kind of almost looks like a B when you first glance at it. So my first thought for some reason was Bon Jovi. So yeah.
Again, nothing too, experimental or anything. They had some good songs, but pretty standard rock and roll. I'm also gonna put the Eagles in D tier. Yeah, so pretty much D tier is like your
Eagles
very
shouldn't be D tier.
standard classic rock
I actually saw them live.
It's pretty
this year.
much just dad rock. The D is
they
for
do
dad
have
rock. This
they
is
have
the
a
dad
good-
rock tier. All right, now I think a lot of bands are
Okay,
probably.
first of all, dad rock does not inherently mean bad, okay? And second of all, the Eagles have plenty of bangers, and if I actually was ranking Elton John there, I would put it in like probably B tier.
Probably to go in C tier. Alright, we're gonna put Billy Joel in C tier. Now, Billy Joel is I think a really good songwriter,
I would say Billy Joel's B
especially
tier,
in the
at least.
70s.
We strictly do 80s Joel music, sir.
He does slightly fit in the dad rock tier, but I think he actually has something special about him. His lyrics can be really good, and he just makes some really great piano songs. Alright, let's see who else is in C tier. Creedence Clearwater Revival is in C tier. No, they're a good band. They're just kind of like
Creedence
they're
Clearwater
just like
Revival
a fun 60s
should be
band
at least
to listen
A
to.
tier.
Nice one to boogie
Maybe
down
even
to.
S
I'm also
tier.
gonna
I
put
love
Fleetwood Mac in
CCR
C
now.
tier. I really don't have much to say about Fleetwood Mac. I think They have some pretty good songs, but I just never could really get that into
I
them.
turn
Oh
down the
yeah, I
video
forgot Leonard
volume a
Skinner.
little
They're
bit?
gonna go in dad rock tier. I'm gonna put the Rolling Stones in C tier as well. I'm not gonna lie, I think the
Fleetwood
Stones
Mac,
are a bit overrated.
man,
They made some
this
great
was-
rock and roll back in the day, but
Yeah, no, this
again,
this was an awful video.
as really
This was an awful
mind-blowing
video.
and experimental.
The Rolling
as
Stones I probably
some of the
would
other
keep in
things that
C
were being
personally,
put out in the
but-
time, as well as some of the other bands on this list. I'm also gonna put Led Zeppelin in C tier. This may be a controversial one, but
Yeah,
I
no,
honestly
that was a
think
bad
Led Zeppelin
take.
is highly overrated. I think people would say they were the
you
best
just
band
didn't
to
really
ever
listen to
exist.
them that
They're
much.
just- it's just far
Bad
from the
take.
truth. Their songs can also get a little bit repetitive, not quite as bad as AC/DC's. Zeppelin,
bad
definitely B
take, bad
tier.
take.
Cream, they're putting some really awesome, heavy, bluesy sounds.
Cream
Just
is
one of those
good.
great band B tier. I hope I don't piss off too many
Grateful
deadheads
Dead
with
should
that.
be at least
There's
A
songs
tier.
that make you
Honestly,
feel
a
really
lot of
good,
all of
but a
these
lot
should
of their
be a
songs are
little bit
really,
higher. I
but
don't
their
even know if
songs are
any of these
really
can fit
nice,
into
and
D
you
or F
gotta give
tier.
them
Maybe
props for
Aerosmith.
making this
But-
huge cult following. Rush and B tier.
I like Grateful
Rush
Dead a lot more
actually
now than I
kind
did
of
then, too.
treads the boundaries between B and A tier for me.
Rush
They
at
have
B
some
is
really
okay. I'm
killer
okay with
drums
that.
and complex stuff. Except for the album I'm putting Black Sabbath. You
Black
have to
Sabbath
give them
and A
props
is-
for being
maybe-
one of
no,
the,
I
if
think
not
Black Sabbath
the
might even be
very
S.
first heavy metal band, and their sound music.
I gotta see Max Sabbath live.
We're here for our convertible?
How about an SU?
Another band I'm gonna put in A tier is Deep Purple. Deep Purple
Deep
had
Purple
some
is-
really
Deep
heavy
Purple's
and experimental
good.
sounds in the late
A tier's
60s.
good
Stuff that was
placement.
super cutting. Purple and came a lot. Only thing key 60s, they would A tier. One of the best guitarists of all time. Some people would argue that
Yeah,
he is
I
the
think
best.
Jimi Hendrix
His
actually
music
should be
is
S
just
tier.
so soulful
That's
and
not a-
so
that's
heavy
not
and
an
so
A tier. That is
bluesy.
a S
His
tier.
songs are just my favorite bands. Some would argue that their music's a
Doors
little simplistic,
also
but I
should
think
be
that's
S tier,
the
man.
beauty in
Like,
it. I kind of
what are you
like
talking
the
about? You're like
straightforward
one of the
riffs, and
biggest Doors
especially Jim
defenders,
Morrison's
and
vocal
you put 'em in
delivery
A
and his
tier even at
lyrics.
this
They're
point in
one
my life,
band
I'm
that I really
surprised-
wish I could have
surprised I
seen
did
live.
that.
They were also one of the first bands to kind of go in a more heavier direction in the late 60s. Yeah, I really like the Doors. And finally in A tier, I'm gonna put The Who. The Who is one of the biggest bands to come out of the British invasion.
Everyone-
they were
yeah,
also
everyone makes
super
fun of
cutting
them for
edge
not
for their
using
time
ad
with their
blocker.
use
I'm
of
sorry, man. I don't
distortion.
feel
They
like
also
downloading that
created
shit.
two of the best rock operas ever created, Tommy and Quadrophenia. And just for those facts alone, I'm putting them in A tier. Finally, we have the top tier, the S tier. These are the artists
The Who
that I
in A tier
think
is
were the
fine.
most influential, the biggest trendsetters,
We got
and
Bob
just
Dylan,
had
David Bowie,
a
Pink Floyd,
really
Queen,
great
Steely
cutting
Dan, and
edge
the
sound
Beatles.
overall.
Steely Dan-
Firstly, we have Bob
Steely
Dylan.
Dan is
Bob
good, but I
Dylan
don't think
completely
they're S
reshaped
tier.
the
I think
structure
they're
of pop
probably
music and is
A.
highly responsible for the huge cultural shift in
Yeah, I mean the rest of them though I can pretty much agree on. But yeah, a lot of these bad placements. 2000s. Let's see.
So in the past I've done some
this
tier
is
lists of
this is the same
bands. I did a 70s one and I did a 90s one. Looking back, I definitely could have made a few better decisions. Those videos continue to this day to get a lot of hate. And I don't entirely blame everyone for some
that
of
was a
those
bad
criticisms.
That
However,
was a bad
today I
video.
am ready for more ass pounding because I have a somewhat decent 2000s rock band tier list. Now this should be, I think for me, a little. I should be a little more well versed in this.
Dude, my shadow in this is so funny.
I grew up with a lot
My
of
shadow's
these
like literally
bands.
like my
I've
fucking
listened
neck is,
to
like,
a decent
sticking
amount
out
of
3 feet.
a lot of these, and I have
It's not
listened
that
to every
bad, I
single one of
promise. It's
these
not that bad.
at
It's
some
just
point,
the lighting,
to
just
some
like it makes
extent.
it look like
I'm
there's
gonna
like an
try to
indent.
do this as unbiased as possible, but that really is all this is. Really, it's a tier list. They're all biased. And for the record, I'm going to be rank any bands that came up in the 90s, which is a good portion of these. I'm only going to be counting their 2000s catalog, not the 2010s either, just based on what they released in the 2000s, which significantly drops a lot of these. Well, that being said,
I think that's a
I guess
fair
we'll
thing
start.
to do.
Starting
This video
with
is a little bit
Paramore,
more recent.
Right away, a band that I really
So,
don't listen to
I might not
at
hate
all
this one as
that
much.
really. I'm very familiar with the song Misery Business. That song goes hard as hell.
I've listened to
heard a
Paramore
couple
a lot
of their
more
songs.
since
I really
this
only
video,
ever
and
heard
I
their
would probably
hits.
put them higher than wherever
So
I put them.
right away, this is a band that I'm not for the category. They hard voice. Next up is Coldplay. Now Coldplay actually
B
or
tier.
it's a lot-
Honestly,
let's
that's
put them
not
in
that
B
bad of a
tier.
placement.
Next up is Coldplay. Now Coldplay actually gets a lot of hate, and due to their more recent output, that's pretty understandable. However, I do think they had some genuinely good stuff in the 2000s, especially
Their
their
early
earlier
albums,
stuff. I think
early albums are
Parachutes
pretty
is
good.
actually a decent record. Their following albums were pretty good too. Viva La Vida had some good songs on it. The one with the scientists had some good songs, and I don't remember the name of it. That one was pretty good too. I love the song Sparks off of Parachutes. That one I keep coming back to every now and then. Coldplay is not bad. I think they get a bad rep. We're gonna put them in B tier as well. Panic at the Disco. To my knowledge, Panic at the Disco only released 2 albums in the 2000s, I believe. Those 2, I think, being their best albums. I went through a little bit of a Panic at the Disco phase in high school, but I didn't really get too into them. And today, I don't really listen to them that much at all. Really,
but
I thought Pretty Odd was their best album.
I don't really
Fever
like
was
it that
good
much
too,
anymore.
though. I liked some of the songs on there, but I think
I
they're
don't really
just
like
kind
Fever
of
that much either.
meh.
Some songs I still
overall.
like.
C
but-
tier. Linkin Park.
But yeah, I'm not a
Now,
big
Linkin
Panic
Park
fan.
came at a time where nu metal was already pretty established. However, Linkin Park did have somewhat of a unique twist to the nu metal genre. They added a lot of electronic elements, which in their first 2 records I think work really well. And they did have some rocky moments in the 2000s. Probably due massively in part to their huge success. They are by far the most successful nu metal band, and I have to give them props for that, especially. I want to put them in B tier, but
Yeah.
they're definitely not.
No, they're A tier.
definitely better than these 2 bands.
They're A tier, at least.
But I don't want to put them in A tier.
But they are A tier.
No, alright, we'll put them
Come
in
on,
A
they
tier.
made
the Red
friggin'
Hot Chili Peppers.
Hyper Theory.
Now, I
They're A
think
tier.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers while they had some hits in the 2000s, I think their prime
Shadows,
was certainly
Coraline's
in the
Dad.
90s.
Yeah, I remember that
Most
being
of their
a,
hits came out of the 90s.
remember that
and,
being a
they
top
didn't really
comment. That was
deviate
funny.
too far from that sound, so I think their sound kind of lies in the 90s, and it's not as much of a 2000s sound per se. And like I said, I'm basing this off of 2000s output alone, and because the Red Hot Chili Peppers definitely peaked
Yeah,
in the
not a
90s, and most
huge
of their
Red
hits
Hot
came out of
Chili
the 90s,
Peppers
and they only had a
fan.
couple hits
Every
in the
time one of their
2000s.
songs comes on,
They
I'm
didn't
like, ugh,
deviate
this
from their
song
sound all
again.
that much.
I'm sorry,
I'm
that's
going to
just
put
me.
them in C tier as well. The Arctic Monkeys. I think the Arctic Monkeys had some good output. I don't think they released a whole lot in the 2000s. This is another band that I haven't really listened to or delved into all that much, so I'm gonna be a little bit biased here because I don't really listen to them. However, what I have
Stupid meme.
heard.
Monkey movie. This movie looks so stupid. I kind of want to see it.
They have a somewhat unique sound, but it also just kind of
I don't care for the Arctic
Now I
Monkeys.
put Radio in my 90s tier list. I put Radiohead in the S tier.
They're definitely
for
S tier for
90s
2000s
output.
as well.
Basically solely based on OK Computer. I think I think the Benz is decent.
Monkey
I
movie
think it's a
after
little bit
Arctic
overrated.
Monkeys.
Honestly,
that is a
Pablo
that is a
Honey's
monkey-
just
monkey
kind of
moment.
But their 2000s output is definitely some of the best material they've ever released, if not the best material they've ever released. There's not a single mediocre album they put out in the 2000s, in my opinion. Even Amnesiac I'd consider to be really good. I mean, and this
true.
catalog
I still
also
agree with that.
includes Kid A, fantastic record, as well as In Rainbows, another absolutely brilliant record, 2 of their all-time best. S tier. System of a Down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, I'm not really
System
sure
of a Down is S
if
tier.
System
of a Down is an S tier.
Technically falls into
If
the
I
nu
don't
metal
put them in
category.
S
I think
tier,
they do, but of
throw the
new-
whole
of
list out.
that scene, of that crowd, I think System of a Down, hands
on.
down, takes the cake for the best of those bands. Not only was the musicianship keynote and the songs were super
Keno.
fast and hard-hitting, but the singer's delivery was so eccentric. They were very unique for the genre.
All right, Billy.
and
All right,
they
I hear you.
deserve a
I hear
place
you.
in S tier. Green Day. So Green Day, believe it or not, only released 3 records in the 2000s. Those 3 being
I think I probably put Green Day in
2001,
A. I'd probably put them in
2004's American
A
Idiot,
tier,
and
right?
2000
That's probably a good
were just
placement.
successful. I record for American.
Show me the A tier. Show me the A tier.
Would be in A tier.
Yeah.
Evanescence. I feel like
Evanescence is like a.
would fall
I'd
into
probably
the
put them
butt
in
rock
C tier.
category if
I
they
can
didn't
see them
have
being a B
female
tier.
singer. That being said, though, her vocals do add a lot to the music, and it's actually quite pleasant to listen to at times. It's not a band that I really listen to. I'll put them in B tier.
Yeah,
Franz Ferdinand is a band that I think
My
is
disk
very
space was
much
almost
a
full. I
product
just got
of their
triggered by
time.
that.
Now, their music isn't dated to the point where it's unlistenable. It's not even dated to the point where it's bad. It's just they kind of fall into the
System of a
same
Down cover ran?
category
No,
as
I
Arctic
couldn't- I
Monkeys
couldn't
for
do
me.
that.
The dancey,
I
garagey
can't.
pop rock that they
I'm
made
not capable.
was very much a product of its time, and it's not quite as timeless as some of these other acts. I feel like it's the kind of sound that has
They
been
got some good songs.
at this
I'm
point
sure I
very
put them in
much
like D
product of
tier.
their time, and they're not quite as timeless as some of these other ones. We're getting a lot of B
Another
tier. This
B?
one's also
Really?
gonna be B tier.
Wow.
Nickelback. All right, well, I think we all know where I'm placing Nickelback, and I'm placing Nickelback in D tier, and it's not just because it's a meme to hate Nickelback or whatever. I think Nickelback was actually fine for the butt rock that they were. You know, they didn't need to be anything bigger than what they were. I think they wanted to make.
You know, every time a
radio
Nickelback
butt
song
rock,
comes
and they
on,
succeeded.
I'm singing
so
every
what I'm
word.
saying is, I think
I'm
Nickelback
singing every
gets
word.
more hate than they deserve in the sense that they were what they needed to be. That being said, it's not very good. But you know, they had some radio hits that if they came on at a party or something, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd probably sing along. I'm familiar with a lot of their songs.
Yeah,
They were overplayed
yeah.
as shit. The Strokes.
not lying.
I love the Strokes very much. I think the Strokes
Drugstore
and
Creed.
another band on here, the White Stripes, which I'll get to, kind of shaped the sound.
Yeah,
of
Strokes
the
are S
2000s
tier.
politics
Yeah,
right
yeah,
rock
yeah, we
scene
know,
of
we
the
know.
2000s, and
Strokes are S
and
tier.
they
Oh, I
were
wonder where MCR is
a
gonna go.
very unique act. Unfortunately, My Chemical Romance gets put in with the wrong crowds. They get thrown in with bands like fucking Asking Alexandria and Bring Me the Horizon and all that bullshit. Hell, they even get thrown in with
Bring Me the
Fall Out
Horizon
Boy and
is
Panic
not
at the Disco.
that
They get
bad,
thrown into a lot of
okay.
crowds that they don't
But I get I
really
get what you're
belong
saying.
in. Because My Chemical Romance is actually a very good
Yeah.
Some of that thing they recorded. They
Put them in
more
S
into
tier
Gorilla.
already.
They're getting S tier.
Yeah.
Gorillas. I need to get more into Gorillas. But that
Gorillaz,
being
I'd say,
said,
is like an A tier.
Wix. One
They
platform.
got some great stuff,
Any website.
but
Unlimited
also some
creation.
stuff I don't care for. You know.
I do love a large, successful, and kind of successful. The first two albums are really good, and I think they deserve a good S tier.
I put them in
spot as
S
well.
tier. Wow.
Fall Out Boy. I think Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco are very much, in many ways, the same band. Panic is a little dancier, I guess, but their singers sound very similar. Growing up, I actually didn't even know they were.
They
even
do
different. I
sound
thought
similar, but I wouldn't say like
whenever I
very
heard either
similar.
one of their
Like,
songs on the radio, I thought it was
they're
the
definitely
same band.
distinguishable.
I just can never get into Fall Out Boy. I don't know. They're just,
And I still
they
agree.
just
I
kind
don't
of
like.
sound like
I'm
radio
not a Fall Out
pop
Boy
to me.
fan.
I'm putting them in C tier with Panic at the Disco, I guess. Arcade Fire, also one of my
Love Arcade
favorite
Fire.
acts of the 2000s.
Love
and while
Arcade
Neon
Fire.
Bible I think is good, Funeral is again one of those albums that I'd consider almost perfect. I love the avant-garde instrumentation and
Did I even mention the
shaky
Suburbs? I don't think I
vocals
did.
and just the very uplifting, sincere delivery. I still get chills when I hear the song Wake Up. They're going in S tier as well. Foo Fighters.
Great.
The Foo
Great.
Fighters had some good songs in the 2000s. One that comes to mind for me is
Foo Fighters is
I
not
like
it
the
for me. I'm
song-
sorry. I like some.
Someone getting the best, 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 the best. I do think their best songs came out of the 90s though. Yeah, I think they're like one of the only good post-grunge bands
I'm
in
not
my
that
opinion.
into-
I
I'm
think
not
they're
that
good
into
for what
Foo
they are, but
Fighters.
I don't really think they're all that unique really. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
they're
was
just like a
kind of a good
nice,
joke, not gonna lie.
classy rock group that you know, it's like they make
But
some
I'm
good
guessing
songs.
I'm putting
you
them
know?
in B tier.
I don't really listen to them all that much, but I respect them. I'll put them in B tier. Maroon 5, they had some nice radio songs back in the day, like She Will Be Loved. But yeah, Maroon 5 is they're going to the D tier. Muse. I actually really like Muse. So Muse released 4 albums, 4 of their best albums in the 2000s. Those being Origin of Symmetry.
Yeah, Muse
Absolution,
was
which
on
is
a
my
heater.
personal favorite, but Origin comes
I can
close.
also agree.
Black Holes and
with that,
Revelations,
yes.
and The Resistance. And I think all of those are quite good.
Even The Resistance,
they
I
have,
think, is
some of them have
decent.
some shaky moments, especially on the later half of those 4. But I like the very theatrical and spacey production on these records. I think Matt's vocals are very musician. They almost fall into a whole lot of, but I think they kind of just a little bones are cleaner and pickier. And I don't really have too much to say about Vampire Weekend, but I
don't
do
really
think
listen
they're
to them, so
a little bit better than those 2 bands, but they kind of
I put them in A tier? Damn.
Yeah. Blink-182. I'm just not a Blink fan.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I still
I've
agree.
heard too many
Not a big
bands that
Blink
sound
fan.
like them.
Look, they have some
While
bangers.
I'm sure they
Don't get me
played a
wrong,
part
but
in influencing a lot of those
not
bands.
a big Blink fan.
Heard that sound so much to the point where, and it's just so easily replicated that I just can't really get much enjoyment out of Blink-182.
I did
And
not
I think
go
the
through my Pink
vocals are
Floyd
just
ranking.
Fucking
I don't know if
grating
I
to
will.
listen to most of the time. This might
maybe I should
hurt the butts of
I don't know. I don't want to go for too
some high
much
school
longer. This
students
stream's
or,
been going for a
I don't
while.
know, people that love pop punk, but Blink-182
D
is
tier,
going
wow.
D tier. Papa Roach.
Can I really confidently say that
I've actually
Blink-182
listened
is
to a
like
decent
as
amount
bad
of
as
Papa
Maroon
Roach in my
5?
middle
No,
school
absolutely
days.
not.
Mostly
Papa
because
Roach.
they were going, I'd say.
Hair hit its breaking point?
More ads.
Pantene Multitasker 10
More
formula
ad
is
money for
infused with a
me,
provitamin blend.
But what I have, I'll just say this. What I have heard, I really liked. I think for the Killers. I actually only know really like the hits for the Killers for the most part. And Rock Group also going to get a fat A tier.
Yeah,
the
that's
White
fair.
Stripes, I mentioned them earlier. I think the White Stripes kind of go hand in hand with 2000 duo. Very stripped down once again. Now, if you know me, probably my favorite band, realistically. That being said, if you're familiar with Weezer, you also know that they had a very rocky 2000s catalog. And while I think they had their moments in that catalog, like Maladroit and half of the Red Album, I think albums like Green Album,
maybe we'll
Make
skim through the
Believe,
Pink
and
Floyd one.
Ratitude
Maybe we'll skim through the
definitely
Pink
bring
Floyd
them
one.
down a few tiers. Yeah, they had a very rocky 2000s
Just
catalog.
a little.
Some great stuff.
Whoa.
Some okay stuff. Some bad stuff. They're gonna go in B tier for the sake
the Ween
of their
one.
2000s output. So yeah, that's my
there's
2000s
MCR.
rock band.
There it is.
I feel like I was just on another planet. Wonder if this is what
All
it's
right,
like to be
we'll see if we can get through this.
But I just got around to it. The best experiment is, hey, let's get into it. Plans to include on this list is the, although it kind of seems like
Oh yeah, this was stupid.
One
this
album that I'm gonna exclude on this list is the More album because it's technically a film soundtrack,
Yeah,
and it's
so
not
was-
technically a
so was
studio
Obscured
album.
by
although it
Clouds,
kinda
but
seems
you
like
included
one. But
that.
anyways, yeah, let's start this thing.
I didn't. To be fair, I did not. I didn't know that it was. I did not know that it was a film soundtrack. And also, I like this track now. Amagama should be higher than this. I like Amagama.
Yes, down at the bottom of the barrel, we have 1969's Amagama. Their first album without founding member Sid Barrett.
No, it's
also
really
happens
not.
to
It's
be
not
their
that bad at
worst.
all.
Now,
It's
would
actually
I say
kinda
this is
good.
a bad album?
It just
maybe.
I
So
wasn't
the first
ready
4
for
tracks
it
are
yet.
all live
I wasn't
tracks,
ready for
3
it.
of which are of songs that we've heard on previous records. The other, however, is probably the best song on this entire record, which is Careful with That Axe, Eugene. The song's got an excellent groove to it. It's super
song is
heavy,
very
kind
good.
of creepy. The vocals are intense. It's a good Pink Floyd song. The rest of the album, however, is basically complete nonsense. A lot of it is just random strumming and banging on pianos, just recording whatever the hell you can think of in the studio without any musicality at all, almost. The biggest example
that's
of
not
this
true
being
at all.
several species of small furry animals.
That's not true at
gathered
all. It was
together in a
obviously
cave and
very
grooving with a pick.
carefully
This is
concocted.
often referred to as, by some, the worst Pink Floyd song, and I don't quite blame them. There are some cool sounds here and there, but for the most part, this record is not very good.
Yeah, no, cannot say that Amagama is worse than The Endless River.
Am I really gonna defile this grave for money? Of course I am!
At number 13, we have the newest entry on the list, 2014's Endless River. Now, this whole album is mostly just leftover scraps from their last record. In fact, the whole entire album is completely instrumental except for the last song. Not to mention,
I mean, yeah, no, I don't really care. Yeah, still not crazy.
Prepare to think bigger.
I know I agree with pretty much
at number 12, we
everything
have
I say in these few.
Full of
This album should
At number
not
11,
be...
we have A Saucer Full of
No,
Secrets.
it shouldn't be
This
slow either.
1968 album would be Pink Floyd's last with Syd Barrett. Also their first with David Gilmour and don't really have not bad.
The grass was greener.
Probably should not be below the division.
The light was brighter.
This is a good song.
At number 10, we have 1994's The Division Bell, which seemed like it was going to be their last album, and personally I think it should have been. But yeah, this one is also without Roger Waters in it, and I think it is an improvement from A Momentary Lapse of Reason, especially with the production choices. This album can sound really, really soothing and really mellow, and the more mellow sounding parts sound really, really good. However, when it gets a little bit heavier with the guitars and stuff, the production starts to drop in quality a little bit. Those cliches start to creep their way back in, but not nearly as heavy as A Momentary Lapse of Reason. This album just feels very spacious and almost uplifting at times, an element that Pink Floyd has definitely been really good at for a long time, but that shouldn't be the only asset that makes Pink Floyd Pink Floyd, and that's kind of all I'm getting from this record. But yeah, it definitely has some good tracks on it. My favorite being the last one, High Hopes. I think that one sounds like a pretty good swan song, which is why I think it should have been their last record, but nope. But yeah, again, this one's just okay. I just feel like it's lacking its full potential without Waters, especially with what he was doing with his solo work at the time. Amused to Death, fantastic record.
I can agree with that. This is a pretty good placement for the final cut. I'm actually surprised I didn't put it higher considering how much of a dick rider for Waters I was.
Bold and bright. More like belongs in the trash!
At number 9, we have 1983's The Final Cut, the last record with Roger Waters, and arguably the one with the most of his influence, because this thing basically is a Roger Waters solo record with the Pink Floyd name slapped onto it. It basically almost serves like a sequel to The Wall, but not nearly as grand conceptually and musically. It follows up with the story of the schoolmaster a little bit with the song The Hero's Return, as well as the story of Pink and the title track, The Final Cut, but I wouldn't say it's a complete, just straight concept album. And for the most part, it almost feels just like a collection of bonus tracks from The Wall or something like that. But the sound of the songs is kind of like the sound of the least powerful songs on The Wall. That being solo,
see, I included Obscured by Clouds, but I excluded the More soundtrack. So that made me look stupid. Rightfully so.
Now we're getting into the records that I think are some of the best in Pink Floyd's discography. These albums are all great in my opinion. But yeah, number 8 we have 1972's Obscured by Clouds. Not quite as good as their previous record before it, but it's still pretty damn good. The production is good, but not quite as good as their other records. Some of the sounds on this record really hint at what made Pink Floyd's following albums so great, like the song Burning Bridges and the song Mudmen. I also really like the song Free For because it's a very cheery sounding song about death, so it's just really fun to listen to just because of how dark and ironic it is. I do have to say though, some of the cuts on here are just a little bit jammy, like not too much thought was put into them, but I'd say it's a pretty good mix. So yeah, Obscured by Clouds I think is a very underrated Pink Floyd album.
I do like me some Adam Hart Mother.
At number 7, we have 1970's Adam Hart Mother, a huge improvement from their previous effort, which was Amagama. This thing's only 5 tracks, but the first track clocks in at 24 minutes. That song filled with killer sounds, some weird sound effects as well, but I think what makes this song stand out as well as the rest of the album is the horn work. Pink Floyd doesn't often use horns like this, and it just works so well, especially with how crisp the production sounds. And the reason I keep mentioning the production is because it's one of my favorite things about Pink Floyd. This album doesn't really have much else to say about it, but I think it's just a damn good album.
I think that's a decent place for Piper. Piper's a
At
really
number
good
6, we have their debut, 1967's The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. I think
Moo
this
album
album
is
is
really
really
good.
peak early Pink
The Moo
Floyd.
album,
They really
yeah.
nailed the heavy psychedelic sound. I love all the experimentation, especially for the year that it was released. Were recording Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and they got a lot of inspiration from that. And the last track I want to mention from this is Bike.
What's wrong with it? I've lost the bleach. It's not all he's lost.
Album where they really found their signature Pink
I-
Floyd
I-
sound.
I-
This thing
I
just
mispronounced
erupts with a
Seamus
great opening
in
track.
this.
One
I
of
remember
these
this.
days. Just
I'm done.
I didn't say Seamus, I said Seamus.
I'm getting back
I
on
called the
track
song
with
Seamus.
Jack Fresh.
builds up for like 4 minutes and then it just drops and it's like, oh man, it sounds so great. There's some awesome, really spacey, relaxing songs that follow it. Of these, I especially like the song San Tropez. You just feel like you're sitting by the beach with a margarita on
do like
a remote
San
island
Tropez.
while listening to it. Seamus is a pretty good
Seamus.
acoustic song with some
There it
dog
is.
sounds. Something that they
It
would
literally
use pretty
says
prominently
Seamus
later on.
in the
but
song.
the big kahuna of this
And
record
I still
is
called it
definitely the
Seamus.
last track. That being the song Echoes, which is a whopping 24 minutes long. But this song definitely makes the album. It starts out with these awesome ambient sonar sounds, and that gets picked up with
Yeah,
some awesome
great song.
guitar.
It is a great song. I do love me some animals as well.
Now here's a controversial placing. I know some of the more elitist fans go to say that Animals is the best Pink Floyd
Yeah, I
album,
mean,
and while I
for the
am a
rest
huge
of this,
fan of
I mean,
it,
I'd
I don't
say-
think so, but I'll talk about what I do like about it first. I love how the album is structured,
I'd probably
musically and
agree with a
conceptually.
lot of
I
this
love how the
still
first and last
at the
track are
top
just
end
1.5
here, 'cause
minute acoustic
this is
versions of
probably
the same
still
song.
my
Just a
ranking.
great start and finish to the album. And then the
I
three
might even
tracks
put
in the
Wish-
middle
I
named
might even
after
put Dark
various
Side over
animals
Wish You Were
representing
Here.
different parts of society, each of those being at least 10 minutes long. I think that's just awesome. I love the concept, which slightly gets inspiration from George
Yeah, no,
Orwell's.
I don't want to listen to myself talk about this for much longer, but yeah, I think that might be it. Some of these weren't as bad as I thought they would be. I wonder how Instagram's doing. How is it? Was anyone even paying it? Is anyone even watching on Instagram? How do I even check that? Yeah, like 2 people are watching on Instagram. That's hilarious. Sorry, Instagrammers. But yeah. That'll be it. So thanks for tuning in. Some of it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But yeah, some of it also, like, what the hell was I saying? But yeah, it was nice cringing together. I'm gonna go do some stuff, and I hope to surprise you with further releases of fun and engaging content in music and whatever. So yeah, thanks for watching, and keep on rocking in the free